You're watching a special presentation on Glycod.
Hello and welcome into Boombozz, 1450 Veterans Parkway, Jeffersonville. Southern Indiana High School football just 2 weeks away from getting started. Chris Labar, Jim Kazmarek, Todd Carter will join us in a moment. Kaz, you've been involved in this community for some 40 years for high school football. How do you feel this time around?
You're just as excited as the very first time in 1971. It's just as excited for high school football. It's the greatest thing around. And I can't believe it. Todd and I worked, just seemed like last week, and here we are back again.
So many interesting storylines this year. You've got Providence, and they've really carried the load here locally the last couple of years. Perhaps a challenge for them this year.
Well, I think the challenge for Providence is going to be, first of all, that all the good players that they had have graduated. They're still returning some, obviously. But Coach Mack, I'm sure, is going to have another good team because he's a wonderful coach and he runs a great program at a very good school. So, but he will have a challenge this year. You have Charlestown and Silver Creek coming out of the same sectional, the same conference, both outstanding programs, both outstanding coaches. Silver Creek brings back a lot of skilled people. They might, right now, might be the best team in the area just because of all the skilled people they're returning. Jeff's got a new coach, which brings new enthusiasm, and they're going to be excited about a new coach, and I'm excited to talk to him tonight to see what direction he's got that team going, and it'll be good. Floyd Central, another one of those 6-4 teams that are outstanding coach, great program, good kids, but they lost a lot of talent also. And New Albany, kind of a unknown entity right now. They've been down the last couple of years after their great run into the semi-state. They've been down a little bit the last couple of years. Coach is excited about what he's got coming back. He's got his quarterback coming back. So, and I think he's got a new defensive coordinator. New Albany in the past seemed like they had to outscore you. They couldn't stop you. They just had to try to outscore you. He's got a new defensive coach, from what I understand, and that philosophy may change a little bit for them.
We'll bring in Todd Carter. Todd, as you get ready, you prep for this season, what are you anticipating the most?
Well, it's just always fun as we head into the season to see what everybody's going to bring along, and certainly it's always a work in progress. And in Indiana, the fact that all these teams will play in the sectional means that they're going to work through the season, and there will be growing pains, and it's always fun to see how that works through and then what they end up looking like at the end of the season. We always hope for some sectional action, some sectional championships. So Providence, of course, got that done last year, and that was exciting to watch their run. As you guys talked about, they may be back a little bit, but back down a little bit. But I think it'll be fun. I think there'll be some teams that will work through the season and get better, and hopefully we can bring you a lot of that on Glycod.
We expect to see all 8 head coaches here locally tonight. We'll talk with some of the top players in the area, and as we look at the Week 1 action, it doesn't get much bigger to start the year than Silver Creek Charlestown.
And you have a great game to start with, Chris. It's a great rivalry, and it's turned into something even more special every year. Both schools have really increased their facilities are fantastic. A lot of kids playing football for both schools. That's a great game to start with. As a coach, I'm not sure I wanted to play my biggest rival the first game of the season. It's better if you play him at the end of the year, because sometimes your whole season gets determined on the first game of the year, playing your big rivalry.
Well, having to just interject, having talked to both of those coaches pre-season, the fact that both said, boy, if you come out of Week 1 with a loss, it may take you a week or two to get your team back right, because you don't want to lose that battle of 403. So I had a nice chance to talk to both preseason, and they both feel that way. So they're going into that one really trying to get their players amped up and ready for a win.
And for Providence, a different matchup for them as well.
Well, they did. They've had a hard time putting together schedule the last couple of years. They're bringing a team in from Knoxville. I think it's Knoxville Christian. right now I don't know that much about them. I'm going to do some research and find out a lot more about them in the next couple of weeks. And I'm sure Coach Mack knows a lot more about them than we do. But it will be interesting to see. Actually, be interesting to see some new teams, the different people.
And you were going to talk a bit more about the 403 rivalry as well.
And what Todd talked about, you lose that game. You can't really dwell on that because when you look at their schedule, it's kind of a meat grinder for both schools. They don't really get a break after the first game. They play Salem and Floyd Central for Silver Creek, I believe, and Charlestown has got Providence in that first mix. So not East Central, but Brownstown.
Yeah,
so
Brownstown.
So you win the game. We beat, and then we got to play Brownstown, or we lost the game, but we better be ready because we got to play Salem, so it is. But that's what high school coaching is. Why it's so much fun.
We are live tonight at Boombozz, and Jeff, we would love if you would join us. It's a Wednesday evening, half off, all cheese sticks, best pizza in America, Boombozz. And Jeff, you can contact him, 1450 Veterans Parkway or 913-4171. We'll talk more about the Silver Creek program. Dave Pappenhouse, the first coach to join us. We expect him in just a bit, and we will talk a bit more about the Dragons on the other side of this timeout. You're watching Southern Indiana High School football preview from Glycod.
Looking for a career instead of a job? Want to make a difference in a child's life? Community Action of Southern Indiana's Head Start program is now hiring. They offer competitive wages, plus health, dental, and life insurance, as well as paid college tuition and retirement plans. Apply online through Indeed.com or email your resume. You can make a difference in a child's life. Community Action of Southern Indiana and Head Start, serving children and families for over 60 years.
When young people need a place to go and someone to help, there's always a safe place nearby. Clark County Youth Shelter and Family Services, a local nonprofit organization, designates businesses and organizations throughout Clark and Floyd counties as safe places, which offer immediate help and safety to area youth who are experiencing crises. For more information on these safe places and a list of locations, visit ccysfs.org. This is a message from the Clark County Youth Shelter.
In one fell swoop, one innocent city will be left with one burning question.
Where's Cobra Guy?
What? No.
You need to be there. You need an Interstate, the car battery auto techs prefer.
Come by Interstate Batteries, 1510 Production Road, Jeffersonville.
Drug use in adolescence or early adulthood can have a serious impact on a teen's life. Teenagers who use marijuana are more likely to have lower grades, even drop out of school. They may also suffer from impaired driving, higher levels of anxiety, and depression. We all want to see the youth in our community succeed. Regardless of your stance on marijuana, we can all agree that it's not right for teens. Paid for by Drug Free Communities and Our Place.
What are the ABCs of safe sleep for babies? That they lay alone, on their back, and in a crib. These measures can help lower the risk of sudden, unexpected infant deaths. The Clark County Health Department offers free CPR and safe sleep training, plus cribs for expectant parents, grandparents, or caregivers of young children who meet eligibility requirements. For more safe sleep information, visit clarkhealth.net.
Glycod on YouTube is Kentuckiana's fastest growing high school sports video site. When you click to subscribe, don't forget to tap the bell and be notified of our upcoming live broadcasts and other unique video content. Subscribe for free now at youtube.com/Glycod.
Back live at Boombozz Jeffersonville, Chris LeBar alongside Jim Kazmarek. Todd Carter is here as well. Silver Creek, the first part of our evening. We'll talk about the Dragons. And Kaz, between Dave Pappenhouse at Silver Creek and Steve Cooley at New Albany, not sure between the two of them, they've not coached somewhere in the area.
And it looks like Coach Cooley was started, well, he actually started up north in Fort Wayne area, and then came down to Jeff as the Jeff head coach. Then he became the head coach at Clarksville. Then he became an assistant at New Albany High School, and then the head coach left, and Coach Cooley then became the head coach at New Albany, and he's been there now. I think this is his 6th season.
Yeah, Coach Pappenhouse, 33 and 17. So he's won 2 out of 3, and he's really reinvigorated that Silver Creek football program.
Well, he did, and they started, I believe it was 12 years ago now. Started from scratch. I mean, they didn't have football. They didn't have a youth. I mean, they started everything from scratch. There was Coach Hawkins was there for a little while, and Coach Dablow, I believe, was there for a while too, and then kind of got things rolling a little bit, got them on the right track, and then Coach Pappenhouse has really done a great job the last 6 years now, right?
Yeah, Coach Pap has assisted at Jeff, Clarksville, Charlestown now, year 6 at Silver Creek, and incredible year last year, above 500. They're 6-4, quarterfinalist within their sectional, and as we talked before we went on the air, they retained some offense.
Well, quite a bit of offense, starting with their quarterback, Caden. I'm going to correct this, make sure I get this. Caden Ward, their quarterback, did a great job for them as a junior and coming back now as a senior. And anytime you can return your quarterback, it gives you a leg up on your summer practices and your preparation. You don't have to reteach everything to a new quarterback. So Caden is an outstanding quarterback, and I'm going to look at my notes here. I'm going to have to cheat a little bit. But Sam Kahn and Jamari Powell both return in the starting backfield. Darius Gray is a wonderful wide receiver with a lot of speed. Cullen Gerlach, who was all glycod last year at linebacker, he returns. So, I mean, they've really got a good nucleus of players and good coaching staff. I mean, Silver Creek is like one of the top programs now in Southern Indiana. I'd say that one of the premier programs in Southern Indiana.
Yeah, Keaton Ward, an outstanding quarterback for them, and it starts that offensive line. And Walker Hoffman, he is an anchor up front.
Yeah, and it seems like he's been there forever. I don't know how he can get 10 years of eligibility, but he's an outstanding athlete because he's a very good basketball player also, and he's been a 3-year starter. This will be his 4th year as a starter on the offensive line. And I would imagine a kid with his size and his ability, and as a former head coach, and even when I was head coach, and I always coached the offensive line. And what you watch with offensive linemen is how do they move their feet. Even they're a big kid with a big body, do they move their feet really well? And Walker has done a really nice job. When I watch him play, I watch his feet, and he does a really great job of moving his feet. And that could be as a result of being a basketball player, where you really do have to move your feet and shuffle and do things like that. So, yeah, he's a good player.
Take a look at their 9-game slate. Of course, we talked about the Charlestown opener, and then you go to week 3. And a game against a Floyd Central team, and they're always going to have the numbers. And right. Coach Bragg, that's a solid program.
Right, and Coach Bragg runs like you said, a solid program. If they're going to be down, they're not going to be down by much. We always expect big things from Floyd Central, and they pretty much deliver. It's fun watching them play. They're a good, solid program. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They don't hurt themselves much, and they play a pretty challenging schedule. When you look at Floyd Central's schedule, it's a pretty challenging schedule. You open with St. X. That's a pretty good challenge.
Yeah, it sure is. We'll talk about all area team schedules. We'll bring in Todd Carter in a moment. Todd, as we talk a little bit more about Silver Creek, what are your observations about the program over there?
Well, I think the program that Coach Pappenhouse has built is really growing, and I think that's something that is going to pay dividends here over the next few years. They have really gained in numbers in their junior ranks and coming up through middle school, and they have a number of kids they're going to field for the first time, I believe, in Coach Pappenhouse's tenure going to have freshman, JV, and varsity teams. And so I think that's definitely a program that's building for the future. And I think that's one thing that's going to be really interesting is how that really shows up over the next couple of years. I think it could be great for those Dragons fans out there as they build and as those kids get older. As far as this year goes, I know Walker Hoffman, their experienced left tackle, certainly is really an interesting player to watch in Southern Indiana. And then they've got firepower back. So 2 running backs, both back. Darius Gray to catch the football. So I think they could be interesting, the Dragons this year.
And Todd, you mentioned something about the numbers. I remember talking to Coach Pap before the season started last year, and I asked him, "What do you need to do to make the next step? What do you need in your program to take the next step?" And he said numbers. It was basically, I've got to have more numbers. We've got to have a freshman team. We've got to have a junior varsity team. We've got to have numbers. And in high school football, it is a numbers game.
Well, and athletically, that entire athletic program has just grown so much. The school has grown so much. And this time last year, we were talking about the new stadium and the new upgrades and all the progress that's been made over there. Just getting started here tonight. We do have a coach here, and we might just transition to that head coach. That's a tease, by the way. We will step aside. More coverage. We're live from Boombozz. We'll be right back.
Wide range of products including video surveillance, door access, fire alarm monitoring, or burglar alarms. Northside Security ensures top service at an affordable price. Their team will efficiently plan and install your system, then train you with 24-hour monitoring. For more, contact them at 812-282-3142 or get a quote online at northsidesecurity.com. Northside Security in Clarksville, where service and protection meet.
When you first find out that you've been diagnosed with breast cancer, you feel like someone sucked the air out of you. I'm a mother and I have a granddaughter, and my first thought was, I need to know what is going on with my health. Priority Radiology made me feel better about the process. First person I saw was smiling. They were very compassionate from the front desk to the technicians to the doctors. Leaving Priority Radiology left me with hope, knowing that early detection saved my life.
UA Local 502 is offering great career opportunities for plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians. They're seeking highly skilled and trained workers with or without experience. Incentives include debt-free education, employer-funded benefits, apprenticeship that comes with employment, and high starting wages. If you're ready to accelerate your career or just want a fresh start, UA Local 502 could be for you. Contact them at 502-361-8492. UA Local 502. We do it right the first time.
We've always gone to Skyline. As soon as we get there, the girls run to make sure that we can get the counter. It's kind of neat for the kids to sit there and watch their food being made.
It's like right in front of you, showing kind of like how it's actually done. It's awesome because it's a Skyline thing.
Very, very, very awesome.
Where else can you go and play and entertain yourself and eat, you know?
Nobody has a counter like Skyline. It's just the best.
Dr. Carter's office, Annette speaking. How may I help you?
Whether you're a new or long-time patient, you know that when you call Dr. Todd Carter, you'll be treated like family. For over 25 years, Dr. Carter's been providing quality dentistry for patients throughout Southern Indiana, from regular dental exams and cleaning to restorative and cosmetic procedures. Let their dedicated and established team take care of your family today. Call Dr. Todd Carter at 812-944-5155 or visit drtoddcarter.com.
I'm a tailgater tailgating to get to my tailgate. I can't go anywhere. But you're so busy watching me tailgate that you don't see the one in front of you. And your cut rate car insurance, it might not pay for this. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Contact Floyd Snobs, Jeffersonville Allstate agent, Packy Page today.
You're watching a special presentation on Glycod.
Back live at Boombozz as we welcome you back to the Southern Indiana High School football preview. Chris LaBar, Coach Kazmarek, Todd Carter. are here. We'll now welcome in the Clarksville head football coach, Zach Hensel. Hey. Welcome aboard, Coach.
Appreciate to have you.
And this is the fun part because we get to talk to the coaches and the players now.
Not that it wasn't fun before.
No.
What are you most looking forward to in year 2, Coach?
Year 2, I think, the biggest challenge for us last year was numbers. We were low 20s, upper teens throughout the whole season. This year, we're hitting right at 40. I have right now 42 that have been out there. So that's our biggest thing is, having depth, being able to go 11 on 11 in practice and utilizing, guys, breaks throughout games and stuff like that. That's something that we necessarily need for this year.
Coach, how much difference from year 1 to year 2? What's the difference now that you see as a coach in your coaching and in your team?
The commitment level. I truly see that the guys are, I would say, more than 80% of the players are truly committed to the G15 way. We're starting to get that brotherhood. And these guys overall, I think, want to win. Where last year it was kind of like, let's find ourselves. This year, we got some guys who are just, putting their foot down. They had a great off season, and overall we want, open up the season, successful early on.
Explain G15.
G15, Generals 15. Last year we had the Generals 15 mindset. This year it's just Generals 15. 15 games to state championship. I'm not saying we're going to go state championship, but I want them to mentally, everything they do from in the classroom, in the community, on the practice field, in the game, on the game field, is a championship mentality. And we're starting to see it. We have our middle school doing it. Our youth players are breaking on G15. And we have some guys who are pretty tough with some other kids when they're failing that motto or that code. They push them to be better athletes.
Coach, you mentioned one other thing about a positive attitude. What techniques do you use as a head coach to get that positive attitude, your positive attitude, which is great, to your players? What techniques do you use?
My staff, what I take pride in is continuous loving. We love these kids up. We do a lot for them in the off season. We care about these kids. We ask, from grades, how's their weekend. We check in on their, personal life, and then when it comes to just different aspects, we always find ways to challenge them throughout practice, whether splitting the teams up, and then when that team fails, I talk to them about how we overcome adversity, how we overcome fear, and supporting them in that way. I think is the biggest thing that we look towards.
Everything is a positive attitude with you and your team, isn't it?
Yes, and that's the thing. Like when we lose, we got to find the positive. I ask my coaches, when we do a break at the end of practice, I ask a coach, tell me one good thing that has happened at practice tonight before we end. Every coach has to say it, and then here soon the captains are going to say one good thing they saw in practice.
Coach, with that attitude, you're going to always end up being a winner. I guarantee it. Now, I do want to talk about one of your players over here, Brady Yates. Brady doesn't remember, but I remember him and met him after the game when he was a freshman playing against Providence, and he right now you have him listed at 150 pounds. I think he probably played at about 100 pounds when he was a freshman, and he was playing middle linebacker. Yeah. And, man, I tell you, he put his nose in there on every tackle. He wasn't afraid to meet anybody. So I could see he's gained a lot of strength and a lot of size right now. But he's 5'5" and 150, but he plays like he's 6'5" and 250, doesn't he?
Coach, you talked about depth, improvement of depth. On the field, what are some areas of improvement that you need to see?
We definitely needed to improve in our secondary. Last year, that was an open door. We had, I think, 7 or 8 skill players. This year, we have 26 skill players. So we've doubled the number. More than doubled the number. We got some of our athletes coming in from basketball, baseball, track, who, they excel in those sports. They're athletes, and they're coming out this year. Sam was not, he moved in halfway through the season. Last year, he's been with us this offseason, so he's a new addition, very tall, athletic that, he played outside linebacker, but, if we need him in the secondary, he's another kid who we desperately need. So defense overall, secondary, but defensively, making tackles, being more physical was our big area of need. So we do have the depth this year. Our linebacker depth is 6 or 7 guys right now. Our D-line, we're 6 deep at the D-line, which is huge. So I'm pretty excited about that.
We'll bring in Brody Yates, Sam Moreland. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. Just talk about the anticipation level for this season.
What do you mean by anticipation?
Well, just how excited are you to be back out there?
Oh, I'm really excited to be back out here. I feel like it's gonna be a good season. We've been training a lot, working hard in the off season, just getting after it on the field, staying focused in the classrooms, putting up weights in the summer, and I really think all the hard work we've been doing will transition onto the field and help us win more games and play better this season.
Got one, Coach?
Well, I do. Tell me how much you love football.
How much I love football?
Yeah, how much you love football.
Man, I love football. I've been playing football since I was 5 years old, since I could walk, since I can remember. It's been way of life, just what I've been doing pretty much since I could walk. That's all I've been doing, football, main sport.
What's the best part of playing linebacker?
No, I've been playing linebacker since it was tackle football. That's how long I've been playing linebacker, since it was tackle football. And after that, that's all I've been playing.
You're Sam, correct? Sam, what's it like to suit up for Clarksville?
Man, it's an honor, really. Thanks to Coach Hensel, he helped me find my spark back to football. I lost my spark because of a coach, but then he helped me re-find that spark, and so it's an enjoyable pleasure.
Coach, have you found as you patrol the hallways and such that more kids want to play football?
Yes, I'm getting nervous right now because we have 42, 43 helmets right now. We're pushing where I had 2 or 3 more students asking to come out. Transfer students who want to come out, and that's going to put us numbers to mid-40s.
That's great.
But and that's where the emphasis was this off season, was go through the hallways, fist bump students, checking on students, and I think that these kids are liking that G15 way of being loved up, being checked on throughout the day.
Let's talk about your schedule for a little bit as we pull it up there. What stands out as you put this schedule together?
This year we're one game at a time. I think that, am I saying we're going to be much more competitive? It's going to be on these guys where we're at. But I think this is a schedule where we're not going to overlook an opponent. We're going to take one game at a time. I'm excited for the long hour-and-a-half road trip at Pike Central. West Washington, got us out with 21 last year, and I think we'll be a little bit closer this year just because of our depth. Some of the smaller schools on our schedule, I feel like our depth and our numbers is going to help us, where last year that was not the case.
You got week 4 at Providence. I know that game means an awful lot.
What was that?
Providence in week 4.
Yes. Providence, Coach McDonald, I have a lot of respect for him. I love this rival. It's one that, I joke with him during the week. We won't talk, but outside of that, we will utilize it and help each other out amongst head coaches in the program. But Providence, I want these guys to understand that, the city championship has been away from Clarksville for a long time, and I want them to start that G15 ways, bringing them that mindset of let's get the city championship back. We're not there just yet. We have week 1 to worry about. But I'm hoping by week 4 that these guys, that mentality, the physicality of 3 games ahead of it gets them ready for the city championship.
All the best to you this year, Coach, and your Clarksville Generals.
Yes, good luck to you, Coach. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, fellas.
Great to connect with Clarksville. We'll step aside. Steve Cooley, the rookie head coach in New Albany, will join us when we come right back.
Looking for a career instead of a job? Want to make a difference in a child's life? Community Action of Southern Indiana's Head Start program is now hiring. They offer competitive wages, plus health, dental, and life insurance, as well as paid college tuition and retirement plans. Apply online through Indeed.com or email your resume. You can make a difference in a child's life. Community Action of Southern Indiana and Head Start, serving children and families for over 60 years.
When young people need a place to go and someone to help, there's always a safe place nearby. Clark County Youth Shelter and Family Services, a local nonprofit organization, designates businesses and organizations throughout Clark and Floyd counties as safe places, which offer immediate help and safety to area youth who are experiencing crises. For more information on these safe places and a list of locations, visit ccysfs.org. This is a message from the Clark County Youth Shelter.
you cannot depend on Oliver's parallel parking.
Hey, you got it, man!
But you can always depend on his car starting because he has an Interstate battery. Interstate batteries, outrageously dependable.
Come by Interstate Batteries, 1510 Production Road, Jeffersonville.
You're busy, always on the go, and when your car needs repaired, you need it done right. At Call's Body Shop, you can make an estimate appointment to better serve you. Just call 812-949-5245 and schedule a time that fits your schedule. They're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and are family-owned and operated. They've been serving Southern Indiana since 1954 at 2801 Mount Tabor Road in New Albany. It's your car, and you have a choice on your repair. Call's Body Shop. Can they fix it? Yes, they can.
When it comes to medical imaging, you have a choice. Choose Priority Radiology in New Albany for convenient quality services like CT, MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, mammography, and more. A community supporter of our local high school athletics, Priority Radiology is devoted to making sure you're informed and comfortable every step of the way. It's a level of care you won't find anywhere else. Tell your doctor or provider that you choose Priority Radiology when outpatient imaging is needed. Visit PriorityRadiology.com for more information. Priority Radiology, you have a choice.
You're watching a special presentation on Glycod.
Southern Indiana football preview live tonight at Boombozz in Jeffersonville. Some game day specials, game day MVPs, wings and fries combo, and an assortment of others for $12.49. We'll welcome in Coach Cooley, the former coach, Jim Kazmarek, and the current coach of New Albany. And, Coach, it's good to see a year 30. What's it like as you build this thing?
It's been a fun ride. I mean, I was a head coach at the age of 24. I was very fortunate that Bill Griffith hired me, right out of college. I'd been assistant at Bloomington South in college and the head coach for 30 years. The last 31 years, there was 1 year I was an assistant in there. And other than that, it's been fun to try to, impact young people's lives and make a difference. And you don't always win them all, but, we've had some great seasons over the years. I've had some great players that have become great young men, and kids go to the NFL, kids play in college, and try to make a difference in their life and make them better people when we can.
Coach, in 30 years, you've seen a lot. Tell me what's changed in those 30 years. You think back to 30 years ago when you were the first head coach and how things have changed.
Yeah, when I went into Fort Wayne Harding in 1994, I would say the kids loved the game. They embraced me really well. It was an inner city school, and we had a lot of fun. We played Snyder and Dwenger and Lures. We played a tough schedule, and we had success right out of the gate and went to the Final Four a couple times the first few years we were there. So, but I think the kids love the game. They love the game growing up, and now, 2020 and beyond, at post-COVID. Our kids love the game. They love to play, but social media has had a huge impact on our kids and how they see things, how they see themselves, and how they believe in themselves, and how they. It's one of those things you got to constantly be a mental coach every day. I had a team meeting today in class for 10 minutes, and I just here's what we got to do. This is our biggest enemy is ourselves right now, and they responded. We had the best practice we probably had in 2 years today, and we had a scrimmage a little. We got after it and pro pads. So I was pleased with how they responded to that. We got to do it again tomorrow. So it's all about putting day after day after day. But I just think sometimes kids are concerned about, what they're doing at other schools, and, the transfer portal's kind of filtered down to high school and kids wanting to transfer and stuff. And we want kids that want to be a Bulldog. We want kids that are proud to wear the New Albany uniform and play for us, because we got a great product. We're going to have a lot of fun this year, and we got good coaches. We got a great school and a great administration. So, the sky's the limit for New Albany High School.
So let me ask you this then. What challenges do you face at New Albany?
Well, our biggest challenge for us, is building depth. I think we got 17 starters back from last year's team, but, we got to get young kids. So we're trying to not say these guys are our starters. We went into the summer with, 1A offense and a 1B offense and a 1A defense and a 1B defense. So we're trying to, we got almost 40 freshmen out, so we're going to have another freshman team, but only probably 9 of them played 8th grade football, and so they shut down Hazelwood a few years ago. That's hurt. So numbers from that standpoint, numbers are down. A lot of schools schools we've talked to around the state, but we're trying to build them back up and get those kids back up. So we ran through that last year. We only had 7 of our freshmen. We played a whole freshman schedule with 27 kids, but only 7 of them played middle school football. So they're starting over. We're teaching the game. They haven't learned any bad habits, but they haven't played football.
Right.
So they're learning. So they're just going to get better and better. So we're trying to keep working with them and be patient. But they're a fun group to work with so far.
Okay, I'm going to take you back to last year, just a moment. And you go into the sectional, and you have a bye. And I don't know how you can do that. Not only do you have a bye, but you don't have school going on at the same time. And you play Castle, which is one of the top programs in southern Indiana. And you give Castle everything they wanted. I mean, you were in that ball game and gave Castle one heck of a game. What happened during that bye, during that period of time, and then how is that carrying over this year?
Yeah, we changed. We tried to change the culture. We made some changes. I went back to calling the defense like I did on the semi-state team. So the guy who ran the defense all year had taken a step back, and so I took that over. I changed some of the things, tried to simplify it, tried to work a lot on fundamentals and tackling, and tried to change the culture there for that 2-week period. We're more physical at practice. We got after it, and the kids bought into it. And I try to sell them right now. For example, throughout 9 games, we gave up more points than the history of New Albany High School. We were not very good on defense. We only had 14 stops where they had to punt. When you go back and look at our cut-ups in 9 games, that's not very good. You should be off the field 4 or 5 times a game. In the Castle game, we made Castle punt 4 times. So changing the culture, changing what we're doing, changing, those type of things. So it wasn't just me making that change. It was our staff buying into it, our kids, that type of stuff. So I think that's kind of been a segue for this year, what we're doing from the off season going into the summer. Our 1A defense has been really, really good all summer. So it's kind of a carryover from the Castle game from there. Most of those kids are back. And that's without a couple key players that have been either injured or have been out with baseball and things like that. But, I think that is, it's a testament to our kids to buy into the mental part of it for the 2-week bye period. They gave us everything we had, and we just came up short in the 4th quarter against a good Castle team.
Well, and that has carried over. You're seeing that
Yes.
same carryover in your practices so far this summer.
Yes, it's been a really good summer.
Well, you already answered one of my other questions, dang it. Tell me about Kenny Watson, your quarterback. This is his 3rd year starting at quarterback. What are his strengths? What does he need to work on? What has he worked on?
He's an unbelievable leader. He needs to work on his quick game passes. His deep ball's gotten a lot better. He was off and on last year. He got hurt multiple times. He got hurt. We have the lead if we catch a deep ball going into halftime against Franklin on the road, and then he gets hurt. Seth Goodman comes in, does a good job the second half, but, they wore us out in the 4th quarter, and from there, Kenny's off and on for a couple weeks. Kenny gets hurt again. He gets his hand stepped, his throwing hand. He's out for multiple weeks, can still play defense. We turned to, Chase Lush, baseball player, never really played quarterback. Really came in and had a solid year for us as far as throwing the ball at times at the end, but we just kind of had to makeshift what we're going there. And then in the Castle game, Seth Goodman came in for Chase because Chase was out, got hurt against Floyd, so we lost our Division I tight end potential kid. And Seth came in and did a great job. So right now, really, we got a 3-way quarterback war right now between Seth Goodman, Kenny Watson, and we have a freshman named Cortez Ricketts that's really, really good. So, I really like what we've got going on.
Well, a couple of years ago, you started a freshman quarterback that ended up being a pretty good football player.
We did, yes. And sometimes you got to play freshman if that's what needs to be. But I think they got to earn it at practice, and they got to earn it on the field, and don't just give it to them. So we're throwing them in the fire, and our young kids are getting better. We have 2 or 3 really solid freshmen in this class that can help us.
Well, Coach Cooley,
Yes,
just your thoughts on all your position groups. Where do you think your strengths are as you think through all those different position groups? Do you have any areas that you're thinking, boy, we're really tough here?
Linebacker. I really like my 4 outside linebackers. I like my 4 inside linebackers. From a depth standpoint, we're really good. We got 2 or 3 kids. Both corners are returning starters from last year. 2 different safeties are back. So I think our backs are good. And we've got some kids back up front that played a lot. They just didn't necessarily start for us up front on defense. Offensive line, we've got 3 kids back that played a lot. We've shuffled some kids around. I think they'll be solid. We just don't have any depth there. So we're trying and rotating kids in and just getting some of these younger kids experience, some of these sophomore linemen, so that they can be ready to play if we need them. That's a big thing. We got a big weapon at tight end this year that we haven't had since I've been, we got a big 6'5" basketball player that's 240 that can run, Xavier Harvey. He's had a great summer. People are going to have their hands full trying to defend him. So I'm excited about the things we're doing with him at different times. So he's going to be a weapon. We have good kids on the wideouts on the outside as well. Our biggest strength right now is going to be running back. We have 5 or 6 running backs that can play. So we're going to try to find different ways to use them as much as possible.
Sounds good. Well, and go as you work through the summer, and these guys, they're really separating themselves and
yeah, we have certain kids that some kids catch the pitch this way better. Some kids, we chart everything, we grade everything. We had an 84-play scrimmage today. I'm going to go home and break it down and see, the good and the bad and the ugly, and from the end zone, from up top, and get ready for tomorrow. But I think we've got a good nucleus of kids that have bought into what we're doing. They're very disciplined this year. They work hard, and I'm excited.
What challenges you at this point in your career?
What challenges?
Yeah. What
year?
Well, what challenges you
personally?
personally? You've accomplished so much. What's left, I guess?
I've been part of championship teams at Bloomington South and Fort Wayne. We won the sectional at Jeff. We've been to semi-state here at New Albany. It's for me personally. My wife asks me that all the time. I get up every day with a positive attitude, and I want to try to make a difference, and I want to have fun. The day I get up and I don't really want to go to practice, I'm done. Because I can retire, I'll be 55, all that stuff. For me, I'm still having fun. As long as I'm still having fun and I can make a difference, and I'm going to continue to coach whatever level it may be at, and try to help young people, because I love the game. I love studying the game. I love talking to college coaches and going to clinics and finding better ways to do this. And we've changed a lot of our defense, a lot of our offense. We've hired some new coaches. It's one of those things that, as you get older, you got to constantly evolve. You can't get stuck in your ways. And I think we've done that this year, and, try to use our personnel. And we try to sell that to our kids that, hey, we're going to build our offense around our personnel this year and build our defense around our personnel. So that's always a challenge. And every day's different, with physicals and eligibility and transfers and kids moving and back and forth. And, there's never a dull moment at New Albany High School.
Let's take a look at your schedule as we pull it up here. Your thoughts here on this 9-game schedule?
Yeah, we play Franklin, which will be a solid game for us at home this year, which is good. They're going to have to travel. We're meeting South Bend, Washington, which will be a good game for us in the middle, outside Indianapolis. They're going to drive 2 hours. We're going to drive 2 hours up to Sheridan, so that'll be a good game for us. We were fortunate we dropped Christian Academy of Louisville, which was a tough game for us, where they try to beat you up physically and mentally to the point where you're not ready to go into the conference schedule. So our first 2 games will be good competition to get us ready from there on out. But with Jennings County, they got a new coach. He's a Franklin assistant. They'll be solid. Bedford's always good. They lost Memphis, and some of these kids they've had the last 3 years they've been playing, so they'll be solid as well. East is always East. They're good. But Bloomington North, they were ranked number 1 in the state last year when we played them, so they got a new coach also. But, Floyd will always be good. Jeff will be good. They've got some new move-ins, a new coach. They do a good job over there. So for us, we've, it'll be tough, but we're going to have to stay healthy, and that's why we're trying to play as many kids as possible early through the heat and from a depth standpoint, so that we have guys ready to go as the season goes.
Hope you have a great season, Coach. Thanks for stopping by.
And one of the nice things when you talk to Coach Cooley, you only have to ask him one question. He'll talk for half an hour. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Good luck, guys. Thank you for all you do for high school sports here in Southern Indiana.
Joe Washington, first-year coach at Jeff, will join us on the other side from Glycott.
I'm your cat, and ever since you brought me home that day, I've been plotting to destroy you. This is 1 billion years of tiger DNA just ready to pounce. And if you got the wrong home insurance coverage, you could be coughing up the cash for this. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem, like meow.
Contact Floyd Snobs and Jeffersonville Allstate agent Packy Page for a quote today.
You cannot depend on Carl to make peace with his seatbelt. But you can always depend on his car starting, because he has an Interstate battery. Interstate batteries, outrageously dependable.
Come by Interstate Batteries, 1510 Production Road, Jeffersonville.
This is what excellence in construction looks like. It's a startup company that launched in 1980 under the leadership of a husband and wife team who had a vision for growing something great, the American dream. It's two sons who have worked hard and earned the opportunity to carry on the legacy from the ground up. It's nearly 300 employees with common culture and commitment to construction. Some of the region's most visible and ambitious projects with the same heart, passion, and drive. It's our experience, our innovation, our reputation, and core values that set us apart. Mack Construction. This is what excellence looks like.
When it comes to medical imaging, you have a choice. Choose Priority Radiology in New Albany for convenient quality services like CT, MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, mammography, and more. A community supporter of our local high school athletics, Priority Radiology is devoted to making sure you're informed and comfortable every step of the way. It's a level of care you won't find anywhere else. Tell your doctor or provider that you choose Priority Radiology when outpatient imaging is needed. Visit PriorityRadiology.com for more information. Priority Radiology, you have a choice.
The only name you need to know for all your auto repair needs is Voinier's Auto and Truck Repair. Sure, our name might be hard to say, but we can fix everything no one else wants to fix. Big or small, we can do it all. Foreign or domestic, if it needs repair, Voinier's can handle the job. The only thing high-tech about us is what we do, and we're upfront with you and we'll do the job right. One thing we have to sell is our time, and we won't waste yours. Voinier's Auto and Truck Repair. Family-owned since 1981. Call us for all of your auto repair needs.
You're watching a special presentation on Glycod.
Back live at Boombozz in Jeffersonville. 2.5 weeks before high school football starts here in Southern Indiana. Chris Labar, Coach Jim Kazmarek will welcome in first-year head coach at Jeffersonville, head coach Joe Washington. Welcome to the area, Coach.
Hey, thank you very much.
Well, what are you looking forward to this year?
Just seeing how much work the kids have put in this offseason and seeing the fruits of our labor. So, just excited for the first game and just get those first game jitters out the way. But I'm really excited to see how the kids have really bought in and, focus on, their goals on the season. So
you talked about first-year jitters. What about the jitters for you?
That's what I'm talking about, the first-year jitters. Just being first job as a head coach, a lot of different things and aspects that go into being a head coach than an assistant. But I'm adapting to it, well and learning on the fly. And I just go to sleep at night just waiting for that Thursday night sleep before we head up to Whiteland. And, the anticipation is great right now.
Well, good luck trying to find that sleep, because let me tell you, as a head coach, it doesn't happen. It'll happen sometime in November or December. That's when you'll finally get a good night's sleep. Man,
I can believe that, because we had a 7-on-7 couple last month, and I didn't go to bed till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning just thinking about, how the kids are going to play and how they're going to respond to adversity. So I was like, bro, this is a 7-on-7 sleepless night. I don't know what's going to happen come season time.
Coach, and again, congratulations on getting the job. It should be one of the premier jobs in Southern Indiana, and I'm sure you're going to bring it back up to that level again.
Absolutely.
Because it really was, at one time, one of the premier jobs. And I used to be at New Albany, so I have a hard time saying that.
Man.
What challenges have you faced now coming in and coaching, taking over a team that was 0-10 last year, and there's a lot of negativity about being on an 0-10. What challenges have you faced, and what have you done to change that attitude?
The challenge is, I'm a different person than the previous head coach. I have a different knowledge of the game. How I see the game is different than how somebody else saw the game. So just implementing my goals and my thoughts and how I want the team to run, and the reflection of, past head coaches that I played for and how they poured into me, and, what I want this program to look like. So just being able to change the identity of the program and the mindset of the kids to thinking about, how I was as a player is, one of the major changes that I want. So.
Coming from Atherton as an assistant, a great season last year at Atherton. What can you take from that experience to apply at Jeff?
Just everyday hard work, just the grind of it, attention to detail, and just the competitive nature. Trying to compete every day at practice at a high level is one thing that we implemented at Atherton last year. So that's one of the things I want to bring over to Jeff is just being having a competitive nature, in anything that you do, just competing on the field.
So, Coach, when you talk about attention to detail, how do you relate that into practice? How do you take that? You're wanting the players to pay attention to every little detail, whether it's the way they tie their shoes or buckle their chin strap, to running a play correctly. How do you relate that attention to detail to everyday practice?
One thing that I harp on, and I'm sure the boys will tell you, is when we're in stretch lines or we're doing anything, and if I say behind the 50, nobody's foot is on the line. I don't care if it's a shoestring, a piece of hair that comes off your head. Nobody's foot is on the line. Yeah. So that's one thing I'm trying to implement on being attention to detail.
And the players don't understand, why is Coach worried about where my shoelace is on the 50-yard line? Because that's attention to detail, and that's no different than when you call 14 wedge and they have to run exactly what you've called.
Exactly, the same thing.
Yeah.
So, just the small things, they might think it's, a nuance and they think it's stupid, but, it gets the point across, and it's going to help them out that later on down in life as well.
A pair of Jeff student athletes are here, yep. Cam Holloway as well as Chance Johnson.
How you doing?
Hey, guys. As seniors, what's the challenge been like to have a new head coach in your last year?
For me, the challenge been fun. Like, going through everything, ups and downs, it's just been fun. And we've been putting in work, a lot of work. So I think by the time the season comes, it's going to pay off for sure.
So, Chance, let me ask Cam another question. Because, man, you got a great smile. You love football, don't you? You love being out there. Yeah, I can tell. Look at the smile on his face. Yeah, that's good for you. I love that. I love that attitude.
You mentioned the hard work. Describe how hard it has been with the new head coach.
Hard. Then some days I know people want to quit, like throwing up. And you just got to keep pushing through it. Like at first, I know my first week we started working out. We was starting off with crutches. I'm like, oh, my stomach hurt. I can't do it. And then we was like every day we lift every single day. Like the first week I was like, oh no, my arms hurt. Like I can't move my arms or nothing. But now, I mean, it's just act like we've been doing this. Like we just been doing this so much, it's starting to get normal for us.
Chance Johnson is here. Chance, offensive lineman. What kind of offense are you guys going to have this year?
We're definitely going to be running the ball a lot. We have a great O-line. Some work to do, of course. And our receivers are amazing. Cameron Holloway, I guarantee you give him the rock, he's going to put 6 points on the board.
Let's bring in Coach for a moment. Coach, I know you guys have transfer from Charlestown. Perhaps it could boost their running game, perhaps. Well, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you do have some players in the backfield to be able to tote the ball.
Yeah, we have a guy, the young man you're talking about is Jaden Berkeley. We use him in the slot. He's going to do a lot of he's going to be a Swiss Army knife. He can run the ball from the backfield. He can be the slot jet guy. He can, run bubbles and things of that nature. So he's been a great addition to this team, moved into our district. So it was great timing for him to show up for us.
Can I say something about that boy dangerous? Everybody open field. Good luck tackling him.
Well, we saw him play for Charlestown last year in a game, and he really is dangerous. You're right.
Good luck.
Let me ask Chance another question. Are you a run blocker or a pass blocker? What do you like doing better?
I love run blocking.
Why is that?
I love just displacing people and showing my dominance on the offensive line. I don't think there's anybody that we're going to play that's going to be able to stop me.
You get a couple pancake blocks every once in a while?
Love it. Put some syrup on it.
I love that attitude, too.
Yes, sir.
Coach, let's look at your schedule and what stands out.
What stands out? That first game. I mean, I'm trying to build a program, so our first game is going to be against a program. Something that I probably aspire to want Jeff to look like, and consistently be in the top of 6A, and be that team that's going to be in the talks about, state championships and conference championships and things of that nature. So the first game stands out for me. And then, of course, you got New Albany down at the road at the end. So, that's a lot of that's all I've heard when I taken the job is like, you got to beat New Albany. You got to beat New Albany, So just getting a new, a taste of the rivalry around here is something good.
Yeah. Well, you do have some good rivalry games because New Albany and Jeff is a rivalry, and Floyd Central and Jeff is a good rivalry too, and you'll enjoy those. They're live for those games because they're very enjoyable. But you won't get any sleep, I can tell you that.
Coach, all the best to you and your student athletes this year.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for coming by. Head coach Joe Washington III, first-year head coach at Jeff High. We'll have our next coach on the other side. Thanks for watching us tonight live from Boombozz and Jeff, and we'll be right back.
Looking for a career instead of a job? Want to make a difference in a child's life? Community Action of Southern Indiana's Head Start program is now hiring. They offer competitive wages, plus health, dental, and life insurance, as well as paid college tuition and retirement plans. Apply online through Indeed.com or email your resume. You can make a difference in a child's life. Community Action of Southern Indiana and Head Start, serving children and families for over 60 years.
When young people need a place to go and someone to help, there's always a safe place nearby. Clark County Youth Shelter and Family Services, a local nonprofit organization, designates businesses and organizations throughout Clark and Floyd counties as safe places, which offer immediate help and safety to area youth who are experiencing crises. For more information on these safe places and a list of locations, visit ccysfs.org. This is a message from the Clark County Youth Shelter.
You cannot depend on Oliver's parallel parking.
Hey, you got it, man!
But you can always depend on his car starting because he has an Interstate battery. Interstate batteries, outrageously dependable.
Come by Interstate Batteries, 1510 Production Road, Jeffersonville.
You're busy, always on the go, and when your car needs repaired, you need it done right. At Call's Body Shop, you can make an estimate appointment to better serve you. Just call 812-949-5245 and schedule a time that fits your schedule. They're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and are family-owned and operated. They've been serving Southern Indiana since 1954 at 2801 Mount Tabor Road in New Albany. It's your car, and you have a choice on your repair. Call's Body Shop. Can they fix it? Yes, they can.
When it comes to medical imaging, you have a choice. Choose Priority Radiology in New Albany for convenient quality services like CT, MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, mammography, and more. A community supporter of our local high school athletics, Priority Radiology is devoted to making sure you're informed and comfortable every step of the way. It's a level of care you won't find anywhere else. Tell your doctor or provider that you choose Priority Radiology when outpatient imaging is needed. Visit PriorityRadiology.com for more information. Priority Radiology, you have a choice.
You're watching a special presentation on Glycod.
In the middle innings here, as we welcome you back to Boombozz, Chris LeBar, Coach Jim Kazimierek, and Todd Carter. And Coach Kaz, very impressed with Coach Washington at Jeff.
Yeah, very, very impressed with him, and great attitude. And I remember, I'm going back and remembering my first year as a head football coach when I thought I knew everything. And then after the first game, I figured out I didn't know anything. And it was quite an awakening experience. That very first game, and I just had breakfast the other day with two of the young men who played on that team, and we were talking about that first game, and they had a great deal of confidence that I did know everything because I guess I got that gave them that impression, but I never did tell them that after the game I felt like I didn't know anything.
Todd, exactly what is the challenge for Coach Jeff? I mean, they didn't win a game last year. What is the challenge?
That's a great question because it's a large school, and I know Coach Washington has already had a number of kids that are maybe borderline district kids who have come in. I think really for Jeff, this is my opinion only, part of it is building from a young age, is to build that, have success at the high school level so that then you can build with those younger kids, those mighty mites, those juniors, those middle school kids, and you can grow your numbers. It's certainly you want instant success, but part of it too is to have enough success early on that then those younger kids really see themselves in a Jeff football uniform, and they want to play, and they want to play hard at that level. So I think that's a big challenge, and it'll take time, but I think with time it really could pay dividends at a school the size of Jeff and in that area. So I think that's really what I see as a challenge.
Well, and things can be a little quicker nowadays with the rebuild due to the transfers, right? And he's already got two coming in, apparently.
Two coming in, some good players coming in. The other thing that kind of build on what Todd said, in the past couple years when we watched Jeff play, we did Jeff in Silver Creek, and we had Jeff at Floyd Central maybe. Anyway, and Jeff at Bedford. One of the things I noticed was that Jeff never seemed to find their identity, that they want to be a running team, and one game they'd want to be a passing team. And in the first half they'd run the ball. In the second half, they'd start throwing the ball. They never really found something that they were comfortable with, and as a result, they were uncomfortable in everything. And it kind of was obvious on the scoreboard and what you saw the players doing. So, and that's no reflect. I mean, it was just the way it was. It's not a good or bad. It's just that was just what it was. And if Coach Washington says, "Okay, this is our identity. This is the kind of team we're going to be," kind of like Charlestown. Charlestown has an identity. They're a hard-nosed, get after you, hit you hard. Providence has an identity. Providence identity is we're playing with a chip on our shoulder. We're tougher than you. We may be small, but we're tougher than anybody we play, and they play that way. That's their attitude. Charlestown has that same. That's their identity. If a team can find that identity and we're going to run the ball. We're going to be a tough running team. We're going to bloody your nose and stick with it. Don't that didn't work. So let's let's just chuck it up, or chuck it up if that's your identity, and don't just say, well, we're 0 for 10 on these passes. We're going to start running the ball now. Stick with what you think you should be doing.
We've already talked to Coach Cooley and, of course, Coach Washington. We'll talk with a few more a little bit later on. How do you separate those two teams, Kaz, this year, New Albany and Jeff?
Well, I think New Albany's got an advantage just because of their coaching experience. He's been at New Albany for 8 years. He's been at Jeff. He knows the area. That's a big plus for New Albany right now. Coach Washington is going to get to that point, but I think that's player-wise, talent-wise, probably pretty much the same. I always said New Albany kids, Jeff kids, pretty much the same kids. They just wear a black jersey instead of a red jersey, you know. But Coach Cooley's been there now and has been head coach for 30 years. Coach Washington hasn't been a head coach yet at all. So that's the advantage.
Well, and what could be interesting with that, too, is depending on Coach Washington's style, is just he certainly, as a younger head coach, you never know, could catch a little lightning in the bottle there just because of the fact that he might seemingly relate to his players in a little different way than Coach Cooley as a 30-year head coach would. You know, I have no doubt that both are going to impart a lot of the same sorts of lifetime ideals and goals and challenges for their players. They may just do it a little bit different way, and that's going to some kids are going to react better to that than others, and so that you just never know. In a new situation like Coach Washington's in, he may possibly, like I said, catch lightning in the bottle, and it really pay dividends very quickly. So we'll just that's the fun part about coming into a season. We just get to wait and see what's going to happen with that.
And you know, let's go back and talk when Coach Hensel was in it, and he was talking about how he's trying to impart the positive positive things with his players. And he talked, and the impression I got, he wants his kids to know that he cares about them, not just as football players, but he cares about them as young adults and as students in school and members of the Clarksville community, and the kids know that he cares about me. He's just not my coach. He cares about what kind of person I become.
Live tonight at Boombozz in Jeffersonville. We'll chat more about the Charlestown football program. We'll dissect the Pirates right after this pause from Glycod.
Wide range of products including video surveillance, door access, fire alarm monitoring, or burglar alarms. Northside Security ensures top service at an affordable price. Their team will efficiently plan and install your system, then train you with 24-hour monitoring. For more, contact them at 812-282-3142 or get a quote online at northsidesecurity.com. Northside Security in Clarksville, where service and protection meet.
When you first find out that you've been diagnosed with breast cancer, you feel like someone sucked the air out of you. I'm a mother and I have a granddaughter, and my first thought was, I need to know what is going on with my health. Priority Radiology made me feel better about the process. First person I saw was smiling. They were very compassionate, from the front desk to the technicians to the doctors. Leaving Priority Radiology left me with hope, knowing that early detection saved my life.
UA Local 502 is offering great career opportunities for plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians. They're seeking highly skilled and trained workers with or without experience. Incentives include debt-free education, employer-funded benefits, apprenticeship that comes with employment, and high starting wages. If you're ready to accelerate your career or just want a fresh start, UA Local 502 could be for you. Contact them at 502-361-8492. UA Local 502. We do it right the first time.
We've always gone to Skyline. As soon as we get there, the girls run to make sure that we can get the counter. It's kind of neat for the kids to sit there and watch their food being made.
It's like right in front of you, showing kind of like how it's actually done. It's awesome because it's a Skyline thing. Very, very, very awesome.
Where else can you go and play and entertain yourself and eat, you know?
Nobody has a counter like Skyline. It's just the best.
Dr. Carter's office, Annette speaking. How may I help you?
Whether you're a new or long-time patient, you know that when you call Dr. Todd Carter, you'll be treated like family. For over 25 years, Dr. Carter's been providing quality dentistry for patients throughout southern Indiana, from regular dental exams and cleaning to restorative and cosmetic procedures. Let their dedicated and established team take care of your family today. Call Dr. Todd Carter at 812-944-5155 or visit drtoddcarter.com.
I'm a tailgater tailgating to get to my tailgate. I can't go anywhere. But you're so busy watching me tailgate that you don't see the one in front of you. And your cut rate car insurance, it might not pay for this. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Contact Floyd Snobs and Jeffersonville Allstate agent Packy Page today.
You're watching a special presentation on Glycod.
Back live at Boombozz in Jeffersonville. Some great game day specials coming up. Football season almost here. Wings and fries combo for $12.49 and a litany of other specials. You can stop in, carry out, or give them a call, 812-913-4171. Let's talk a bit about this Charlestown program. Unfortunately, Coach Hawkins unable to join us tonight, but he has done a fantastic job there. Really, next to Coach Cooley, the dean of all Southern Indiana football coaches.
17 years at Charlestown. I think he's got 19 years of total experience. He's head coach at Shawnee High School in Louisville 1 year and at Silver Creek for 1 year. Is that correct?
It sure is.
I thought so.
And this team 6-4 last year.
Yeah, 6-4. And again, watching them play is just a typical, what I call a typical Charlestown team. They're just hard-nosed, tough kids. That's their character. That's their culture, is to play like that. And the more they get away from that, they're not. They'll get away from what their culture is and they need to stay with that hard nose, run the football, bloody your nose, that kind of thing.
Todd, what stands out as you've called their games over the years?
Well, I think what stands out this year is just that they lost. They lost 4-year starting quarterback.
Right.
Then the big question for them is going to be really who steps up and who replaces him. Sounds to me from talking to Coach Hawkins before the season like the running game is going to be big with them. They are really going to run the football and try to run it well. Boomer Hester, who's a linebacker for them and is really excited about the season, we know is going to be involved in the offense, whether that's in a wildcat sort of situation or running the football. So Boomer Hester definitely going to be involved. But then some others. I know he's got Grayson and Phillips, 2 younger guys who are also battling for that starting QB job. So it could be interesting to see. But I have no doubt in my mind they're going to run the football, and then they're going to play defense because that's what Charlestown does for sure.
Yep. And by the way, Boomer, all-name team. Before the season even starts.
Exactly.
All
and I told Coach Hawkins that he would be he was going to be in the running for sure.
And Clay McClellan, fantastic career there. Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and he was 4-year starter. It's hard to replace a 4-year starter. They had a good tight end. A kid by the name of French was a really good tight end last year.
And his younger brother is on this team, going to be playing. Going to be playing tight end for this Charlestown team. Well, so that could be interesting. Yeah. Younger coming up.
Yep. Take a look at their schedule, and again, it starts with the home game versus Silver Creek. So much riding on that game.
Yeah, and then they go after. Oh, yeah, that's again the rivalry game, first game of the season, and first games, a lot of emotion, a lot of mistakes. You'll see when you work the game, you'll see a lot of mistakes. You'll see a lot of flags because it's the first game of the season. But there will be a great deal of enthusiasm at Charlestown. The Pirate fans will be there in force for that game, as will the Silver Creek people. That'll be a great game.
Right, and then coming off that game, and like I said, we said in that opening segment, both coaches talked about how important it would be to win that game because they'd really be feeling it the next couple of weeks. It might take them a little while to right the ship. And you follow that up with at Brownstown Central, and I heard it from 3 different area coaches this summer. Brownstown Central is somebody to watch over the next 2 years. They've got a team, going to have teams that really have a chance to make hay and go far in the state tournament. So, boy, that's a toughie. You come off the Battle of 403, you think, oh, boy, maybe we can take a deep breath. No, got to go to Brownstown Central.
And then it does ease up a little bit, but then you got Providence on your schedule there in week 5, so you can't take too much of a break.
Certainly the back end, really, the schedule appears a little more manageable than the front end, but this is a team, a lot riding on that opening game because in theory they could start 0-2.
Right.
That is a possibility, and certainly I know when I talked to Coach Hawkins before the season, that was something you could tell was weighing on his mind a little bit. But also, he had lots of enthusiasm for how his team was preparing through the summer, and really how he was really how well they had practiced and what they were putting in. And I also know from talking to both Coach Hawkins and from talking to Boomer Hester that I think they thought defense was going to carry the day, but Boomer especially was saying, boy, I don't know if you're going to be able to sleep on this offense because when we get the ball, they seem to have some weapons and can seem to move it around a bit. So that could be interesting. But like I said, those first 2 weeks, that's tough.
Yep.
Silver Creek, Dave Pappenhouse, unfortunately unable to join us tonight. We'll talk a bit more about his program. We talked about them early. We'll talk about a few different players this time around for Silver Creek. Very solid defense. We'll talk about the Dragons we still have to come. Coach Daniel McDonald of Providence and Coach James Bragg of Floyd Central. They are committed to come, and we'll chat with him in just a few moments. Thanks for watching us tonight on Glycod. We'll be right back.
I'm your cat. And ever since you brought me home that day, I've been plotting to destroy you. This is a billion years of tiger DNA just ready to pounce. And if you got the wrong home insurance coverage, you could be coughing up the cash for this. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem, like meow.
Contact Floyd Knobs and Jeffersonville Allstate agent Packy Page for a quote today.
You cannot depend on Carl to make peace with his seatbelt, but you can always depend on his car starting because he has an Interstate battery. Interstate batteries, outrageously dependable.
Come by Interstate Batteries, 1510 Production Road, Jeffersonville.
This is what excellence in construction looks like. It's a startup company that launched in 1980 under the leadership of a husband and wife team who had a vision for growing something great, the American dream. It's two sons who have worked hard and earned the opportunity to carry on the legacy from the ground up. It's nearly 300 employees with common culture and commitment to construction. Some of the region's most visible and ambitious projects with the same heart, passion, and drive. It's our experience, our innovation, our reputation, and core values that set us apart. Mack Construction. This is what excellence looks like.
When it comes to medical imaging, you have a choice. Choose Priority Radiology in New Albany for convenient quality services like CT, MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, mammography, and more. A community supporter of our local high school athletics, Priority Radiology is devoted to making sure you're informed and comfortable every step of the way. It's a level of care you won't find anywhere else. Tell your doctor or provider that you choose Priority Radiology when outpatient imaging is needed. Visit PriorityRadiology.com for more information. Priority Radiology, you have a choice.
The only name you need to know for all your auto repair needs is Voyner's Auto and Truck Repair. Sure, our name might be hard to say, but we can fix everything no one else wants to fix. Big or small, we can do it all. Foreign or domestic, if it needs repair, Voyner's can handle the job. The only thing high-tech about us is what we do, and we're up front with you and we'll do the job right. One thing we have to sell is our time, and we won't waste yours. Voyner's Auto and Truck Repair. Family owned since 1981. Call us for all of your auto repair needs.
You're watching a special presentation on Glycod.
Let's talk a bit more about this Silver Creek bunch. Head coach Dave Pappenhouse, we talked a bit about him earlier, guys, but year 6 for the Dragons, and just like Charlestown, 6-4 last season.
Well, and Coach Pappenhouse, like you say, now in his 6th year, 33-17. Built a good program going on now, and we talk about culture, and he has developed a culture in that community and that school, and the expectations now are higher every year. I mean, 6-4, that's a nice winning record, but Silver Creek, I think, and Coach Pappenhouse would agree, probably expects more. We want to be better than that. But I look at their schedule again, and we talked about a meat grinder. Of course, they open with Charlestown, but then they play Salem, and Salem's always a big physical team. I guarantee it. Salem will have some big 220-pound kid at fullback. It'll just be like a battering ram, and they're always very, very physical. And then they go to Floyd Central, so good. Or Floyd Central goes to the Dragon Field. So it's a tough 3-week stretch for them. Before they get a chance to catch their breath, and then they got Jeff in the middle of their season. Tough schedule, but it helps them build for the sectional.
Well, talking about Coach Pappenhouse, really 3 very solid coaches strung together for Silver Creek, starting with now athletic director John Dablow, then Coach Hawkins for a year, and now Pappenhouse, 3 very credible, fine head football coaches.
Right, exactly, and each one of them brings a different strength to what they were doing. I have a great deal of respect for Coach Dablow because I actually coached him in high school, so I know the kind of character he is. I know Coach Hawkins' character because I coached against him and I coached against his dad, and they both had that tough mentality. When Clarksville was a real strong program, that you knew you were going to be in a dogfight when you played them, and so. Coach Pappenhouse has been lucky to have those people that were there previously.
Todd, a couple of key players for the Dragons. Darius Gray, wide receiver, defensive back, 3 touchdown receptions, and then 2 interceptions as well, Darius Gray.
Right. Certainly, Darius can go out and catch the football and has been very good at that. And then I would say, too, for the Dragons, not to sleep on Jamari Powell and Sam Kahn, the 2 running backs.
Right.
Coach Pappenhouse really happy to have both of them back. They're kind of a two-headed monster a little bit. They really they play. They have their own distinctive styles, but they both really run the ball very well and have a lot of experience there. So that's certainly, if you've got those 3 different weapons, right, Coach? Well, if you have 3 weapons, it's hard to know where that ball's going to go, and so that can be big for the Dragons.
Yeah, if I'm a defensive coach, I can defend one thing. I can do an okay job at defending 2 things. If you got 3 weapons, I'm in trouble as a defensive coach.
Kaz, we talked about comparing New Albany and Jeff. How would you assess Silver Creek Charlestown?
Not the same program and not the same neighborhoods, not the same kids. I would say Silver Creek is a little closer to what I would consider the Floyd Central kind of neighborhoods and kids, and Charlestown probably a little closer to Jeff and New Albany, where it's just really two different communities. It's I think, anyways, that's my opinion.
Well, and I think it's going to be interesting with Coach Pappenhouse and what Silver Creek has back. They're skilled players. They've got so many of those skilled players back. But the lines are really going to be the question. I did talk about Walker Hoffman, left tackle, and he'll also start on the defensive line. But really, once you talk about that, then the rest of the O-line for Silver Creek, we're not really sure what's going to be there. And when I talked to Coach Pap a few weeks ago, there was still some questions there. He said people were working into it. So, we talked about the weapons, but then he's got to have the line to be able to run behind that. And I know Coach Kaz can talk on that. But, they've got 15 starters back, or guys that had some real significant and meaningful time. So I do think that as they go along, they're going to hit the ground running pretty hard, and then they're going to get better because they did have a lot of those skilled players back. It's just a matter of getting the trenches really well involved.
And one of the things I've admired about Coach Pappenhouse's teams is his ability to have a real diverse offense. I see him in one game, and they needed to pass the ball a lot, and they were very successful at it and threw the ball a lot in the game. And then I remember the Jeff game last year where they just dominated on the ground, and I don't think they threw 2 passes the whole game. They just dominated on the ground. So I admire that about him, that he can diversify his offense and do what needs to be done in the game to help the team win.
As Coach Cooley talked about some question marks that his team's facing, how they had a great practice today. But I think for all these teams, still 2 weeks before the season, and you can speak to this, there's just a lot of uncertainty with everybody.
Every day in practice is uncertain. The weather is a factor. I was telling someone the other day, the heat wave that started right before the season started affects the number of kids coming out for the team, because kids will say, or parents will say, hey, too hot to stay inside. And you always hated that, to see that weather changed right before the season started. You have to deal with the injuries. You have to conduct practices that I can't do much in practice today because of the heat, so we're not going to wear helmets. We're not going to put on equipment. We're just going to run around in shorts. And, there's so many different factors that you have to deal with and prepare for.
Any comments on that, Todd?
Well, certainly as far as keeping players healthy and the heat and so forth, it really is so important. We've talked about with the Battle of 403, what that means to both this Charlestown and Silver Creek program, but to every program. They want to hit the ground running hard on their first game, and you certainly don't want to jeopardize that by running the kids too hard in the heat or working them too hard. But at the same time, I know Coach can vouch for this too. You've got to know where to push them, because when it gets late in a game, in September, it might be 80 degrees at game start at one of those games, maybe 85. And they, those kids, when it comes to fourth quarter, they're going to have to have played in that sort of situation. Yeah. They're going to have to be conditioned for it. Pickle juice games is what Coach talks about, and trying to avoid those cramps, trying to avoid those situations. So that really, I think, that's where they have to practice hard now to be ready for later.
We still have to connect with Floyd Central and Providence. We expect both head coaches to join us before the top of the hour. Up next, we'll talk more about the Highlanders and what's in store for Floyd Central. We'll hear Kaz's expertise. Coach Todd Carter will chime in as well. Thanks for joining us tonight. We're live at Boombozz, and we'll be right back.
I'm your cat, and ever since you brought me home that day, I've been plotting to destroy you. This is a billion years of tiger DNA just ready to pounce. And if you got the wrong home insurance coverage, you could be coughing up the cash for this. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem, like meow.
Contact Floyd's Knobs and Jeffersonville Allstate agent Packy Page for a quote today.
You cannot depend on Carl to make peace with his seatbelt, but you can always depend on his car starting because he has an Interstate battery. Interstate batteries, outrageously dependable.
Come by Interstate Batteries, 1510 Production Road, Jeffersonville.
This is what excellence in construction looks like. It's a startup company that launched in 1980 under the leadership of a husband and wife team who had a vision for growing something great, the American dream. It's two sons who have worked hard and earned the opportunity to carry on the legacy from the ground up. It's nearly 300 employees with common culture and commitment to construction. Some of the region's most visible and ambitious projects with the same heart, passion, and drive. It's our experience, our innovation, our reputation, and core values that set us apart. Mack Construction. This is what excellence looks like.
When it comes to medical imaging, you have a choice. Choose Priority Radiology in New Albany for convenient quality services like CT, MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, mammography, and more. A community supporter of our local high school athletics, Priority Radiology is devoted to making sure you're informed and comfortable every step of the way. It's a level of care you won't find anywhere else. Tell your doctor or provider that you choose Priority Radiology when outpatient imaging is needed. Visit PriorityRadiology.com for more information. Priority Radiology, you have a choice.
The only name you need to know for all your auto repair needs is Voyner's Auto and Truck Repair. Sure, our name might be hard to say, but we can fix everything no one else wants to fix. Big or small, we can do it all. Foreign or domestic, if it needs repair, Voyner's can handle the job. The only thing high-tech about us is what we do, and we're upfront with you and we'll do the job right. One thing we have to sell is our time, and we won't waste yours. Voyner's Auto and Truck Repair. Family owned since 1981. Call us for all of your auto repair needs.
You're watching a special presentation on Glycod.
Back live at Boombozz Tap House in Jeffersonville. Chris LeBar, Jim Casimir, Todd Carter is here. And Kaz, great to be here tonight. It's a wonderful establishment.
Oh, it is great. It's the best pizza in town. I can guarantee you that. I have tasted it many times.
Todd Carter is chatting with the owner, Judy Palambino.
So I'm here with Judy Palambino, who's so nice to host us here tonight. And Judy, I want to ask you, just, I know you have game day specials going. What's game day look like here at Boombozz?
Well, with all the TVs that we have, I mean, people love coming here for tailgate parties and just having a good time. We have drink specials, we have food specials, we have a new menu coming out, and we're so excited about it. So the game day specials are going to feature our new menu items, tacosas, which is a spin on tacos / pizza. We have cauliflower bites coming, a wonderful new dessert, my favorite. So, yeah, we're really excited. Football season is so exciting for us, and we love, Jeff High, and we get all the guys and the teams in here. So we have a great time. It's football fun. We're ready.
Well, you mentioned some great sounding stuff. I know I love the pizza. What seems to be the most popular pizza? Inquiring minds want to know.
Most popular tends to be the pepperoni, but my favorite is the politate. That's the one that we won the international award winner, and that's the one that just kind of put Boombozz on the map. It's chicken, potatoes on a garlic olive oil glaze. We have an amazing crust. We have great vegan options. So, but the politate is my favorite. I always try to sell it whenever guests come in for the first time.
You know what? I've had a bunch of the specialty pizzas here, but I don't know that I've had that one. You may have sold another one. I'm going to have to try it. That sounds great. Well, let's go back to just kind of game day around here, but also the Olympics have been on. Have you noticed any bump folks coming in want to watch what's on for the Olympics?
Yeah, we get quite a few people who come in. They'll come in with a group of people, and they're wanting to watch something special. It just depends on what time of day they come in. But yeah, no matter where you sit in the restaurant, there's a TV that can be of your choice. So when they come in, they'll say, hey, can you turn this TV on? And with a flip, they get to go watch whatever they want. So yeah, Olympics has been great. I think people are really excited this year about it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us. And thank you so much for having us.
I have a question.
Yeah,
I have a question for Judy.
Yes.
In Palombino?
Yes.
Do you have to be Italian to work here?
Yeah. Italian, Jordanian, that's our family.
All right, that sounds good.
Yeah.
What is the favorite tailgate item?
This favorite
tailgate item.
I didn't hear.
Tailgate item.
Oh, tailgate item. You mean tailgate item like food item?
Yes.
Oh, wings.
Wings.
Yeah, our dry rub wings, we marinate them for 24 hours in a dry rub. And people come in and get them in pans. Like they just buy them in 15, 10, 20 pans at a time.
Oh.
So, yeah, dry rub wings. Everybody loves chicken.
Yep.
Wings, I guess.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coach James Bragg is next. Be right back.
Wide range of products including video surveillance, door access, fire alarm monitoring, or burglar alarms. Northside Security ensures top service at an affordable price. Their team will efficiently plan and install your system, then train you with 24-hour monitoring. For more, contact them at 812-282-3142 or get a quote online at northsidesecurity.com. Northside Security in Clarksville, where service and protection meet.
When you first find out that you've been diagnosed with breast cancer, you feel like someone sucked the air out of you. I'm a mother and I have a granddaughter, and my first thought was, I need to know what is going on with my health. Priority Radiology made me feel better about the process. First person I saw was smiling. They were very compassionate from the front desk to the technicians to the doctors. Leaving Priority Radiology left me with hope, knowing that early detection saved my life.
UA Local 502 is offering great career opportunities for plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians. They're seeking highly skilled and trained workers with or without experience. Incentives include debt-free education, employer-funded benefits, apprenticeship that comes with employment, and high starting wages. If you're ready to accelerate your career or just want a fresh start, UA Local 502 could be for you. Contact them at 502-361-8492. UA Local 502. We do it right the first time.
We've always gone to Skyline. As soon as we get there, the girls run to make sure that we can get the counter. It's kind of neat for the kids to sit there and watch their food being made.
It's like right in front of you, showing kind of like how it's actually done. It's awesome because it's a Skyline thing.
Very, very, very awesome.
Where else can you go and play and entertain yourself and eat, you know?
Nobody has a counter like Skyline. It's just the best.
Dr. Carter's office, Annette speaking. How may I help you?
Whether you're a new or long-time patient, you know that when you call Dr. Todd Carter, you'll be treated like family. For over 25 years, Dr. Carter's been providing quality dentistry for patients throughout southern Indiana, from regular dental exams and cleaning to restorative and cosmetic procedures. Let their dedicated and established team take care of your family today. Call Dr. Todd Carter at 812-944-5155 or visit drtoddcarter.com.
I'm a tailgater tailgating to get to my tailgate. I can't go anywhere. But you're so busy watching me tailgate that you don't see the one in front of you. And your cut rate car insurance, it might not pay for this. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Contact Floyd Snobs and Jeffersonville Allstate agent Hackey Page today.
You're watching a special presentation on Glycod.
Welcome back. Southern Indiana High School football preview on Glycod. There's Todd Carter. I'm Chris Labar. Coach Kazmarek is here, and now Floyd Central head coach James Bragg joins us. Coach, 8-2 last year, a great season. How does this year look like?
Yeah, I mean, we had a fun year last year. It was a great experience for all of our kids. Really enjoyed them. Had a great senior class that left, but they left. They're now young men in the community and going off to college, and for us, we got to reload, and we're off to a good start right now, the third day of practice, and hopefully it continues to grow off that.
And Coach, you just mentioned something, and this you weren't able to attend practice yesterday because you had to go to a rules interpretation meeting. No, don't you know all the football rules?
No, apparently I don't. No.
What is that all? Tell us what that's about.
Yeah, so Robert started this basically right after COVID, where he travels around the state. Robert Fulton, the commissioner. He travels around the state at 9 different locations, and all the head football coaches and referees must attend an interpretation rules meeting. We actually get up there and demonstrate line of scrimmage things and new rules and everything. So it was about a 2-hour meeting, and it's one of those things where you feel like it's inconvenient, but it's really not. When you go, it's fun. You get to see the other coaches locally and stuff. But yeah, so last night we had ours, and due to the heat, we had to push practice back because we couldn't practice on the turf. So while I was with the rules meeting with Mr. Falkins, my offensive coordinator was running practice down the field. So it was a pretty good night for me, but that's why I can still talk to you guys tonight, because I have my voice still. So
and you have a lot of confidence in your coordinators to turn over practice to them.
Oh, absolutely. Mark McKay and Jamie Polk have been with me all 7 years at Floyd. And then we brought in, Blair Thompson. He was a Salem head coach for a while. He's assistant coach for us now. And Tom Hodge has been with me for 5 years there. So we got a lot of experienced coaches on our staff. We just got to find more of them right now. So it's hard to find coaches right now.
I understand. It was hard to find coaches back 20 years ago, too.
Yeah.
So, Coach, you mentioned this. You lost a ton of talent. They've graduated, moving on. They're going to college. They're doing bigger things in their life. How do you fill those voids? I mean, you really have lost a lot of talent.
Yeah, and that's why we like to say it's not a rebuild, it's a reload. We've been very fortunate with our numbers. Our numbers have grown over the last 7 years. We have 128 guys out there right now. And out of that 128 guys, it's our responsibility as a coaching staff to develop those kids and play Floyd Central football. So, when those guys graduated last year, there's guys behind them that can fill those voids and we're comfortable with, So we're excited about their opportunities. And, one thing, we always talk about last year, but that's kind of all stopped. We've talked about how this is your legacy now for the seniors, the 2024 kids. You had a great junior season, but at the end of the day, nobody cares about your junior season. Everybody wants to talk about your senior season. So what kind of mark are you going to make on this program and then the conference moving forward?
You had mentioned, Coach, about having continuity on staff and guys continuing to come back. How do you do that? Because that's not the case everywhere.
Yeah, like I said, I've been very fortunate at Floyd that we've latched on and had really good coaches stick with us, a couple of those guys are in the building, but we've had a couple late coaches that have stuck around, and we just got to work with the family schedules. Bryce Smith is our quarterback coach and kind of our passing coordinator. Well, he runs a trucking company down in Clarksville, and he's that's his family business. He's taking over from his dad. well, he can't be at practice every day. Okay, that's fine. You know, your knowledge and your relationship with the kids is more important to get you there 3 days a week than make you be there all 6. You know what I mean? So either I can work with his schedule and make it work for our kids and our program, or I lose him. And, like, to me, his knowledge, his relationship with the kids and understanding and buying into the Floyd Central way, even if he's there for 3 days a week, is more important than not having him at all for 365 days. So that's one thing we've done well. And, you know, the other thing is we joke with each other. Jamie Polk he has a son right now, Matt Polk, who's a tight end for us, linebacker, who's a junior. His older son, Tristan, was a senior quarterback for us, you know, for many years.
Yeah.
And, you know, the joke is he keeps saying that he's going to retire in 2 years when Matt's good. I'm like, no. I have a freshman boy next year. If I coach your boys, you stick around and coach my kid for 4 years. So we chuckle about it, and it's funny how his talk is, I'm not retiring in 2 now. Like, I'll give you 3, you know. So I just got to get him to 4, and we're good to go. So
let's take a look at your schedule, Coach. We pull it up there. Boy, a tough opener now.
Yeah.
St. X. What do you get from that game?
So we learn about our team, you know. Like I told you before, we don't shy away from playing anybody. You know, we played Male, DuPont, man. We went to Elder a couple years ago, you know. You put them on the schedule, we're still going to show up and play, you know. That game is our measuring stick for us to see where we're at and how hard we've worked for the first 21 days, you know. We go into that game, and we don't talk about winning or losing the game. We talk about what it takes for us to be successful, you know. We want to get 200 yards on the ground. You know, we want to have no turnovers. You know, we want to win. You know, we want to have 3 consecutive first downs on offense. You know, defensively, we want to force them to two 3-and-outs. You know, we want to shut them down on 4th down. We want to create a turnover. You know, we want to do the little things first, and then when those little things add up, you hopefully at the end of the game you have an opportunity to win it. You know, so that's that measuring stick we use. We also like, you know, we played those guys at 7-on-7 over the summer. A lot of our kids know their kids, so it's one of those underlining kind of rivalry games for our kids because they know all the kids over on St. X, and their St. X kids know us. And it's a good relationship. You know, Coach Walsh is a great coach over there, but, you know, he loves it too because, you know, he says that he's getting one of the best teams in 5A from Indiana coming over there. And I'm always like, Coach, you're giving me too much credit. But he goes, no, I mean, you do things really well. And, you know, one thing we talked about this year was, you know, he's got a great team coming back. And I joked with him, I said, Coach, don't beat me too bad. He goes, Coach, you ran the ball over us last year. And we did. We were very successful on the run last year with them. We couldn't stop the pass to save our life, you know. So we fixed those up right now with that game. So, you know, this week we've really taken care of ourselves. Next week we'll really start looking at St. X and kind of taking, you know, breaking them down and really focusing on what we're going to do for that game plan that week 1. But we always tell the kids, you don't win one game, the season's not over. It's not the state championship game. It's week 1, and we gotta perform, and then win, lose, draw, we gotta move on to the next game.
Well, and speaking of that, then you have a long road trip to Terre Haute South that next week, and that certainly is that's a fun outing, right? Kids maybe get out of school a little early. Am I not mistaken?
So we'll take 2 charter buses over. Kids will get out at 1 o'clock. They think they're celebrities and everything. We'll drive over there. We'll drive halfway. We'll eat lunch. We'll get taped. We'll do a little walkthrough, and then we'll continue on and play them. So it's a long bus ride home too. And like I told them, I said, you know, when we went to Elder, people forget it was 28-21, and we were knocking on the doorstep. Couldn't punch that last touchdown in, and then we end up losing by 21. You know, it's a lot better when you're coming home from a long bus trip if you got that win in your pocket. You know, so the other thing too is we match up well. Both teams are. They got a lot of offense coming back. You know, our secondary's coming back, which helps us out against them. But that's a very good test for both teams because that's a regional opponent. You know, and we always tell our kids, like, we might see these guys again. Yep. I mean, that's the ultimate goal is to see these guys again in the regional. You know, I know we got to get through our sectional first. But anytime you get to play somebody that's in your regional semi-state early in the season in a non-conference and get an opportunity to see them, I take full advantage of that, and that's where we like it. So,
what's going to be your strength this year?
Our strength's going to be our line, our offensive line. I mean, and if it's and that's the biggest thing that will disappoint me is that we can't move people along. You know, we got 3 guys coming back that are veterans. 2 of them are, one's a 3-year starter, one's a 2-year starter, or 2 of the other guys are 2-year starters. And we have a backup center, and we talked about that. We reload. You know, Sam Franks is going to play center for us. He was just as good as Parker last year, but Parker was a senior and just a little bit better. You know what I mean? So we let the senior play, you know. So our line will, if we don't move people, I'll be a little disappointed. And then our skill guys are phenomenal. We bring back Isaac Kaiser, who's an all-state wide receiver.
Yep.
David Pennington comes back. Cam Herrick comes back. Garver Kelly's now in the mix. And we bring back 2 of our 3 tight ends. And actually, our 2 of our 3 tight ends that we bring back with Matthew Polk and Wade Jacoby, they were our 1-2 guys last year. Sam Lockhart was our 3rd tight end that came in. And everybody's like, well, Sam was your 1. No. Sam had to help us with defense.
Yeah, right.
Those 2 kids got more experience last year, especially Matt Polk as a sophomore, than Sam did as a senior, and that's awesome. So we bring those guys back. Where we got to get better at is our defense. Our defensive front 4 has got to get better. And we went up to Whiteland, and they kind of exposed us a little bit to that. With defense we run, we have got to have 2 guys in the middle that are run stoppers. We got to have 2 guys that are pluggers, and we're getting better. But we haven't found those 2 guys surely yet, and that's a great thing to have because right now, like I said, we're day 3 in practice, and there is competition everywhere. Like those guys are chomping at the bit to get in there and show me what they got, and we're going to find them. We always do.
Yeah. Well, we got 120 on your team. I bet there's one. I bet you can find 2 of them.
Yeah.
I bet you can find 2.
Coach, I remember doing your game against Mail, your first game I called. What have you learned now in 7 years?
First off, stay away from Mail. No.
Right.
No. The biggest thing is, and this is one thing we're emphasizing right now, special teams. I think special team play in high school football gets overlooked a lot. And it's one of those things where I think if you are struggling offensively or defensively, you feel like, and Coach, you might be able to take to this, you think you got to play more, do more team time. That's not the answer, So we've really focused in the last 2 years on special teams, not giving up those big plays because that game you called, I believe that was a game where we didn't catch a kickoff, and we just touched it, and they got it at the 3-yard line and punched it in for a touchdown. We gave up a kickoff return. I mean, there's 2 touchdowns, in my opinion, on special teams. That's really hard to come back from as a high school team.
You remember a game detail 7 years ago, Coach?
I can give you details 20 years ago. And speaking of that, I learned that special teams was so important, and it was always put into the middle of practice. Special team drills and practice happened in the middle of a practice. I was at Louisville's practice yesterday, and they did all of their special teams things first. The first part of their practice was all special team stuff. It's an important part of your game.
Well, and one thing we did last year was if we give up first extra point field goal, Coach, we end practice with that one. Just a good change-up. And if we miss it, we move on. We lost, guys. We don't sit there and not everybody gets a trophy. You know what I mean? We're not going to sit there and kick 17 of them until we make one. No. We always kick 3 at the end of practice. They know this. We do 3 extra points. We do 1 from the 20, 1 from about the 15, and we go back to the extra point line. If we miss that last one, we don't just hit another one. No, we got to move on, boy. We lost. We wasted a rep, and we got to move on. So.
What's the best part of coaching over there now, Coach?
Excuse me?
What was the best part of coaching at Floyd Central?
The community. I can't tell you how much in the 7 years the community's really embraced me. I don't know. I'm not going to say they didn't want me at the beginning, but, following Brian Gleason was very, very tough. And being a young kid from Illinois that really nobody knew anything about, and having been an assistant at Crawford County and Corden, guys that gave me an opportunity in the classroom, I don't know if they really accepted me then, but nowadays it's great when we go in the community. The youth league's really hopping. I mean, our youth numbers are through the roof. We got 240 kids playing youth football, I think, right now. Our junior high has 99 kids out. Like I said, high school-wise, we got 128. So, the buy-in of what we're trying to do, the buy-in of football is a great thing for our youth to be in and important. I can't say enough about our community. They really support us. And, you can hear it in the crowd. We always get some naysayers, but at the end of the day, the crowds are growing. Our fan base is electric, and last year I did it. Before we played Bedford, I took a chance. I just took a moment. I never do this. I turned around and looked at the crowd, and even Bedford traveled well, but I was amazed how deep we were into the standing section. They're 8 people deep. I mean, that's unbelievable especially for Southern Indiana football, and our community really makes it a great place to be.
And not only that, but you have the best fight song.
Fight song? Oh, thank you.
And Todd knows
Well, because Coach Kaz, now he has his own words to it.
I have different words because that was my high school fight song.
I got you.
So,
but when we're in the booth at a Floyd Central game, Coach Kaz is usually singing along.
60 years later, I can still sing the Bayview High School fight song, which is the Minnesota Rambler. And Coach, it's great when I'm there and watching you coach. You do a great job. You got a fantastic program.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All the best to you coaching.
No, I just wanted to say that really the teams we were talking earlier about team identities, and it seems that over the last 7 years, Floyd Central definitely has that a team identity. And what do you think, in your words, what do you want the Floyd Central way to be?
We want you to know you're going to get hit. And that sounds kind of repetitive and single, but like one thing we talk about is being physical everywhere on the field. And sometimes that's been taken for granted. Like, it's high school football. Like, just go out and play. And I think physicality is one of the biggest things we want to do, but one of the things we have is simple, fast, and violent. And I know you don't want to use the violent word nowadays. It's 2024, and we talk about it. Like, we don't want to be violent in the community, but on the field, we want to be violent and rip through things. Like, just don't get blocked, you get blocked. And the other thing I think that when you play us or when you call our game, you guys have been around about 7 years. We've been up, we've been down, There was that one year where I didn't know if we'd ever win a game after we lost that heartbreaker in overtime to Davies County and went 0-4, Well, we didn't quit. We were disciplined. We were in that game. Should we ever been in that game with those guys? Absolutely not. But we have discipline. We have rules for everything. And I think guys that know when they play us, they know they're going to be disciplined. Like, we're not going to make our own mistakes. You're going to have to beat us everywhere on the field. And I take pride in that, and that's not just me. That's our coaching staff. That's the attention to detail that those guys take. That's the attention to detail our kids buy into. Today we had study tables, because we have teacher meetings after school. Well, 128 kids got to the cafeteria, got their computers out of their books, and were sitting there doing homework while I'm in the teacher meeting. Now, I'm right outside the room, but still, I didn't have to go hunting anybody down. I'm not calling kids. That's the discipline, that's the expectation, and that carries on to the football field. So I think that's what it is. But probably discipline is what I have.
Coach, all the best to you this year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hope you have a fantastic year.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck to you. Hope we have one of their games.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, you come anytime you want. You come to practice, guys. You know that.
Coach James Bragg, head coach Floyd Central. We'll talk Providence football, then we'll wrap things up. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll be right back.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Looking for a career instead of a job? Want to make a difference in a child's life? Community Action of Southern Indiana's Head Start program is now hiring. They offer competitive wages, plus health, dental, and life insurance, as well as paid college tuition and retirement plans. Apply online through Indeed.com or email your resume. You can make a difference in a child's life. Community Action of Southern Indiana and Head Start, serving children and families for over 60 years.
When young people need a place to go and someone to help, there's always a safe place nearby. Clark County Youth Shelter and Family Services, a local nonprofit organization, designates businesses and organizations throughout Clark and Floyd counties as safe places, which offer immediate help and safety to area youth who are experiencing crises. For more information on these safe places and a list of locations, visit ccysfs.org. This is a message from the Clark County Youth Shelter.
You cannot depend on Oliver's parallel parking.
Hey, you got it, man!
But you can always depend on his car starting because he has an Interstate battery. Interstate batteries, outrageously dependable.
Come by Interstate Batteries, 1510 Production Road, Jeffersonville.
You're busy, always on the go, and when your car needs repaired, you need it done right. At Call's Body Shop, you can make an estimate appointment to better serve you. Just call 812-949-5245 and schedule a time that fits your schedule. They're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and are family-owned and operated. They've been serving Southern Indiana since 1954 at 2801 Mount Tabor Road in New Albany. It's your car, and you have a choice on your repair. Call's Body Shop. Can they fix it? Yes, they can.
When it comes to medical imaging, you have a choice. Choose Priority Radiology in New Albany for convenient quality services like CT, MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, mammography, and more. A community supporter of our local high school athletics, Priority Radiology is devoted to making sure you're informed and comfortable every step of the way. It's a level of care you won't find anywhere else. Tell your doctor or provider that you choose Priority Radiology when outpatient imaging is needed. Visit PriorityRadiology.com for more information. Priority Radiology, you have a choice.
You're watching a special presentation on Glycod.
Back live at Boombozz, we'll chat with, we hope to chat with Coach McDonald, as you see there, Providence, in just a moment. But, Kaz, what in the world would you do with 128 players like Coach Bragg has?
I'd have to find some more. I'd have to find a lot more assistant coaches, I can tell you that. My first year at New Albany, we had 75 kids on the team, and basically it was myself and John Berger as the only full-time assistant coaches. We had 3 other people who were lay coaches that, like Coach Bragg said, they would come when they could. And Coach Berger used to call it the visiting coach program. So, you know, you do what you have to do. I actually used senior members of the football team to help coach some of the junior varsity kids when they weren't actually involved in what we were doing in practice. The seniors had to go down and help coach the junior varsity kids. And I always told them, if you're not messing around, this is serious stuff. If I catch you messing around, then there'll be consequences. So they took it pretty seriously. But that's the way you build a high school program, but with numbers. And you have competition every day in practice is competition. The starter knows that he can't rest because there's a kid or 2 right behind him that wants to play and wants to take his spot. So the practices become more intense. You get more work done. It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy of the more kids we get, the better we're going to be.
Todd, you're plugged into the Floyd Central program and alum of the school. Coach Bragg, he's done a great job there.
He really has. He's done a very nice job. You catch his enthusiasm just from that few-minute interview we had with him. He's always enthusiastic, and the other thing is you see him around other places other times. He and Coach Fonzo White, the head basketball coach there, both helped with lining kids up for graduation this past year. You know, you see him around at different events at school with family there, and so that certainly is one of those things where you can tell the community has embraced Coach Bragg, and he's had some. As he said, he's had some up and down years. Now, last year was definitely an up year, but the loss of Tristan Robertson, the quarterback, a 3-year starter for Floyd Central, that's going to be a tough key for him to try to replace. Yeah. But he mentioned, they still have a lot of weapons coming back, and for example, Isaac Kaiser, wide receiver. The question is, who's going to throw him the ball? He caught 13 touchdown passes last year with a shoulder that was not what it should have been and required surgery after the season. So I really think it'll be interesting to see if he gets some of those position groups figured out. They could have some weapons and could play very, very well.
And really, Providence notwithstanding, Kaz, you get the sense that Floyd Central really perhaps the premier right now, best program in Southern Indiana?
I would say so, yes. Yeah, very, very much so. And Coach Bragg has built that culture with that program, and I'd say they're a premier program.
The one thing I would say is being in the sectional that they're in, the problem is, they had a sectional win a couple years ago and then got knocked off by Jeff in 2022, I believe, when nobody expected it. and now then they redid the schedules. The IHSA redid the sectional, and now the last couple of years it's been really tough. They've had to go to Evansville North and play, and Castle's also in that sectional, and it's a really tough one. So that's really going to be the next hurdle for Coach Bragg and the Highlanders is, can they make it past the sectional level?
There's that schedule. That's St. X game. I mean, St. X certainly in the top 2 or 3 in Kentucky in 6A.
Yeah. Well, and Coach Bragg said it, one of the things I always believed in is I want to play really tough teams early in the season because I need to find out how good or bad my team is and where we need to improve. And the only way to see that is playing really good competition. You play good competition, they'll find your weakness and take advantage of it. And so when we're watching the film after the game, we see, this is where we're weak, this is what we're not doing well, and if we don't fix it, other teams are going to see it too, and it'll be middle of the season, and we're still trying to figure out how to play nose tackle on defense. So, really good. We used to always open with Evansville Wrights, and Evansville Wrights they're still a quality program, but back in the 80s and 90s, they were top-notch state championship type of program, and we always open with them, and sometimes we won, most of the time we lost, but they help me as a coach find what we need to practice the next week.
Well, and hearing Coach Bragg talk about the home support, they host both Jeff and New Albany this year.
Right, host both Jeff and New Albany, so that's always big. They'll finish with New Albany, and so that game always a big rivalry game. But also, they've got to travel. They've got at Seymour, and then Columbus East at home is great, but Columbus East seems to have turned the corner and is getting better. And then at B&L, at Jennings County. So I was looking at that, at Seymour, at B&L, at Jennings County. All three of those games are tough places to travel and can be really tough games.
Yeah, and Jennings County has struggled in football for many years. But it is a hard place to play. It's a hard place to travel to, and it's a hard place to play. It's out in the middle of the country, and it's hard to get there from anywhere. And it's a really difficult place to play, and they'll always play you tough when you play them at home.
Right. And I know I've heard Coach Bragg say on many occasions something about going to Seymour gives this Floyd Central team trouble sometimes. So that's certainly one that I know he's thinking, well, we got to go up there and we got to beat those guys up there. So.
Well, we have a moment. We'll remind you about the season opener coming up in just over 2 weeks. 7 games on Glycott, including a pair in Southern Indiana, Silver Creek, Charlestown. And Dr. Carter and Coach Kaz will have Christian Academy of Knoxville versus Providence. And speaking of Providence, we'll hear from Coach McDonald. We think he's tailgating someone in the left lane trying to get here in time. His coach is running a little bit behind, but we will chat with him soon. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll step aside, be right back after this.
Looking for a career instead of a job? Want to make a difference in a child's life? Community Action of Southern Indiana's Head Start program is now hiring. They offer competitive wages, plus health, dental, and life insurance, as well as paid college tuition and retirement plans. Apply online through Indeed.com or email your resume. You can make a difference in a child's life. Community Action of Southern Indiana and Head Start, serving children and families for over 60 years.
When young people need a place to go and someone to help, there's always a safe place nearby. Clark County Youth Shelter and Family Services, a local nonprofit organization, designates businesses and organizations throughout Clark and Floyd counties as safe places, which offer immediate help and safety to area youth who are experiencing crises. For more information on these safe places and a list of locations, visit ccysfs.org. This is a message from the Clark County Youth Shelter.
In one fell swoop,
one innocent city will be left with one burning question.
What?
No. You need to be there. You need an Interstate, the car battery auto techs prefer.
Come by Interstate Batteries, 1510 Production Road, Jeffersonville.
Drug use in adolescence or early adulthood can have a serious impact on a teen's life. Teenagers who use marijuana are more likely to have lower grades, even drop out of school. They may also suffer from impaired driving, higher levels of anxiety, and depression. We all want to see the youth in our community succeed. Regardless of your stance on marijuana, we can all agree that it's not right for teens. Paid for by Drug-Free Communities and Our Place.
What are the ABCs of safe sleep for babies? That they lay alone on their back and in a crib. These measures can help lower the risk of sudden, unexpected infant deaths. The Clark County Health Department offers free CPR and safe sleep training, plus cribs for expectant parents, grandparents, or caregivers of young children who meet eligibility requirements. For more safe sleep information, visit clarkhealth.net.
Flycon on YouTube is Kentuckiana's fastest growing high school sports video site. When you click to subscribe, don't forget to tap the bell and be notified of our upcoming live broadcasts and other unique video content. Subscribe for free now at youtube.com/Flycon.
Or a little back live at Boombozz. Chris Labar, Coach Kasmerick, Dr. Todd Carter. It's great to have you here. Thanks to our camera operator and producer on site tonight, Joe O'Malley, and Steve Bird, our executive producer at Glycod. Great team effort tonight to get us on the air. And thanks again to Boombozz and Jeff for hosting us tonight. We hope to do this a little more frequently throughout the fall and connect with a lot of the area coaches. And, Cass, before we chat with Coach McDonald of Providence, got to replace a lot of key parts, doesn't he?
Well, here's an interesting stat for you. I did this yesterday. I went back and got all the stats from the season. And you have to remember, when I give you these stats, half of Providence's games were running clock. Yeah. So, unfortunately, the players really didn't get a chance to amass probably the statistics they really could have. Okay, here's an example. This is what they're missing. 26 touchdown passes, 33 rushing touchdowns, 1,478 passing yards, and 3,268 total yards. All graduated. All those stats have gone and graduated. And remember, you could have probably put on another 1,500 yard total offense in those stats because of the running clocks that Providence got last year. So, how do you replace that? Well, Coach Bragg talked about reloading rather than rebuilding. It'd be interesting if we get a chance to talk to Coach McDonald what his attitude is going to be about that. But he not only did he lose all that talent, but he lost a lot of that chip on your shoulder mentality. I think of all those undersized kids that were playing at 150 pounds that were playing like 250-pound kids that just played with that chip on their shoulder the entire time. And that was the culture that he had built there. I'm hoping to see that same culture when we see them against Knoxville Christian.
Well, and I wonder, too, about just the institutional knowledge that is kind of lost when you have those a lot of those kids were 4-year starters,
right.
Just because they were thrust into it as freshmen or maybe as sophomores, and so you lose a lot of that institutional knowledge, and some of these kids coming up, will that be a reload as well for Providence? It'll be interesting to see, and I know we'll get a chance to see Providence several times this year on Glycod, and it will be very interesting to see with all those losses how they're going to reload and come back.
Well, and to add to that, I should mention that the Glycod most valuable player was Cade Unruh, who's graduated, and Thomas Lynch, a linebacker, running back, made the South All-Star team. So he has to be replaced, and I just saw Coach McDonald walk in the door.
Yeah, Coach will join us here momentarily. Head on over here, Coach McDonald. Be great to chat with him. The head coach of the Pioneers will Sit down to the left to Kaz. Coach, thanks for stopping by.
Coach, good to see you.
Coach, as you get ready for another season, what thoughts do you have? What stands out?
Well, first of all, I owe you all an apology for getting here late. Got caught up at my son's football practice, and then there was a Little League game. Just lost track of time. So I appreciate everything you all are doing. I owe you all a tremendous apology.
No worries.
In talking about our season, obviously we lost 13 seniors from last year's undefeated squad. Got hung up in the regional finals against Indianapolis Lutheran, who went on to win the state title for the third year in a row. They're in 2A now.
Thank goodness, right?
Yeah, well, that was going to be one of my questions, Coach, but you just answered it.
But we have a really good mix of senior talent, and we have several juniors and sophomores who are going to step up. Really, really happy with the summer Wyatt Small has had. He's a returning starter.
Yep.
He's a safety
Yep.
And a receiver. Really happy with Preston Kemp. He's going back to quarterback this season after spending a lot of time at receiver and running back last year. Cooper Ross was kind of overshadowed in the backfield last year behind Luke Crewer and Thomas Lynch. But he's had a great summer. He's put on some muscle, and he's the kind of back that we can hand it to, and he's going to at least fall forward for 4 yards. So really, really looking forward to the season these guys are going to have. Lucas Thomas, our leading returning tackler. He's a senior this year. Lincoln Crewer, our second leading tackler last season, So we have a good mix of guys coming back on the line. I mean, how can I forget these guys? Griffin Tucker returning.
Right. I was just going to.
Yeah, returning All-State, third in the state in sacks last season. And then I tell you who's had a phenomenal summer, probably one of our better athletes, is Lucas Allgood. He's a lineman, O-line, D-line, and moves his feet really well, really well. So, I know I'm forgetting some kids, but we're really excited about what we have coming up.
So my question, you've answered most of my questions already, dang it. Preston Kemp, you're moving him back to quarterback. Last year he kind of played everywhere for you, ran kicks. Sure, we're not going to see him returning kicks and punts and playing defense and playing receiver.
He's one of our better athletes.
Yes, definitely.
So ultimately he's going to start at quarterback, but we want to figure out ways to get the ball in his hands too.
Well, you have another quarterback listed. I'm looking at Noah Leeser, also one of your quarterbacks, sophomore.
Yes. Noah we'll probably list him at 6'4", 6'5", good arm, deceptively athletic, because he's a long stride guy. So
yes.
You look at those long stride guys and you think, man, he's not moving very quick, but, he runs the ball really well. And we have a freshman coming up that's pretty good, Nico Fondrisi. And I tell you, this freshman class that's coming in reminds me a lot of our seniors that just graduated. A lot of talent in that group.
And you built a pretty good 4-year program with those freshman kids 4 years ago. So I remember watching Noah Leeser. He played in several of your games last year when you had an opportunity to put some of your other kids in the game. And I remember a big, tall, lanky kid with a big, long arm throw. I said, well, if he can shorten that up a little bit, he's going to be a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of work this offseason. He has a trainer that he goes to, and we've been doing some work with him. Pretty darn athletic kid. Plays basketball. His big thing is going to be putting on a little bit more weight. He's got a pretty good command of the playbook. Obviously Preston's the guy right now, but Noah's pretty good too. And then further in the backfield, we're returning Lucas Mock, who got a pretty good amount of playing time last year on defense. Yeah. And, he's a kid that, he's kind of a plug and play at a lot of different positions on offense. He can play receiver. He's pretty dangerous in the backfield. And he gets a rep or two at quarterback here and there too.
So I was going to ask you, with Indianapolis Lutheran, that hurdle always in front of you, how are you going to ever get past that hurdle? You just answered that. Just move them up to AA and get them out of your class.
Now, that said.
And now, let me go back. Is that the rule where if you win championship X number of years, you automatically are bumped up a class?
Yeah, that's the success factor rule for those guys. They bumped up, and then Adams Central had to bump up also because they went to back-to-back finals, both of which they lost to Lutheran. That said, though, there are some really good teams in 1A football. South Putnam is returning almost all of their starters. North Judson returns almost all of their starters. So if we act like we can just walk into the playoffs and we're going to Lucas Oil, we're fooling ourselves.
So who in southern Indiana, who in the southern part of the state that's single A that is going to be your main competition?
In our sectional, I mean, you're looking at Forest Park. It's supposed to be really good. They have a quarterback who I've heard can run it and throw it, has a cannon for an arm. And everything I've heard about them is that one down they may be full house under center. The next down they may be all spread with the same personnel.
Yeah.
And you remember coaching at New Albany, you're looking at how many tight ends are in the game, who are they subbing in their huddle. If a team can shift formations like that without subbing personnel, that's tough.
That's tough on your defense, right?
Milan is always dangerous.
Yeah.
They do. Coach Langfordman does about as good a job as anybody of actually making adjustments to what
they had a nice squad last year.
Yeah, they were good. And they were young. Of course, closer to Indy, Sheridan, Bud Wright. You can never overlook those guys.
Is Bud Wright still coaching?
He is.
Oh, my God. Bud's got to be 100.
He might be, but still coaching.
I'll be good for him.
It reminds me of our athletic director is Ted Leeser. Well, Ted Leeser Sr., his dad, I worked for him a little bit at Seneca several years ago, and his big thing was, I'll probably just have a heart attack on the football field. They'll have to drag me off the field one day. I get it, though, man. I mean, guys get the bug, the itch to coach, and they just never scratch that itch.
That's right.
Kind of like me,
Coach, I want to ask you a question. Go back to Preston Kempf, and that is, he filled in and did a whole lot of starting as a sophomore. And so that's big. He's got that experience. But let's talk about the fact that he was absolutely a Swiss Army knife last year. What is he going to bring to the quarterback spot this year, having gone out to run routes and all the different things, running the football? What is he going to bring back as your starting quarterback this year with all that knowledge from what he did last?
Preston has an extremely strong arm. And obviously the idea that he can run the ball at any time makes him pretty dangerous. So, with him having played running back, that's all that is reps at running a lot of his quarterback runs. So he brings kind of a dynamic element to our offense that we're really looking forward to.
Okay, that's I figured that with all of that experience he had last year doing different things out on the field was really going to be helpful to him this year, knowing where guys are supposed to be and what he went through to get open, for example, and to find those guys with the football.
You're absolutely correct.
Coach, let's talk a bit about your schedule and an interesting Week 1 opponent. What do you know about him?
Christian Academy in Knoxville Christian Academy, excuse me. You look at their record from last year, you're thinking they might not have been all that great. I think they were 4-7 last year. But then you start digging into who they played, and they're playing all larger private school teams. So that 4-7 is very deceptive with those guys. They're going to be good. They're going to be big up front. They were young last year. They have some talent at the skill positions. So, we're going to be in a dogfight in that game.
And then you go to a tough Holy Cross squad.
We go to Holy Cross, which is always a tough game.
Yep.
Eric always has them ready to play. Yep. And, I talk about Milan, a team that always makes adjustments.
Yep.
On our schedule, Holy Cross is the best coach team that we're going to play. And Eric and his staff do the best job of anybody on our schedule of attacking our weaknesses on defense, scheming for us on their side defensively or against our offense. That's always going to be a good game, and I'm glad we played that game. It's a great rivalry for us.
Yes, it is.
Speaking of coaches, we can't let you get out of here without talking about Chris Wolf and your time with him at Mail and things you picked up along the way.
Yeah, I owe a lot of my career to him. Just the things I learned from him defensively. When Chris hired me, my experience playing and coaching was only on the offensive side of the ball. So we sit down. He actually used to own a Boombozz. It was the one on Her Lane over in Louisville. I can't remember if we sat down there or if it was like a BW3s or something. But anyway, we sit down one day, and I'm thinking like, Daniel, I need you to coach my quarterbacks or whatever. He's like, dude, the only spot I have available is D-line. I said, well, guess I'm going to learn D-line really quickly, aren't I? And from there, you know, he promotes me to defensive coordinator a year or two later, and he worked really hard to get me on that clinic circuit, speaking at different clinics and doing presentations and things, and really helped me get my name out there because he knew I wanted to be a head coach. I think that's one of the things that made him want to hire me was, you know, he knew I wanted to be a head coach. So when you have assistants in your program that want to be head coaches, you know those guys are going to work. You know those guys are going to dive into it.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have guys on your staff that want to be head coaches. That's one of the first things I ask guys when I interview. You know, do you want to be a head coach? And I kind of ask it like that. And if they say, yes, I do, that guy jumps up the list for me. So, you know, Chris did a good job of teaching me defensive football, which in turn, I learned more offense and how to attack defenses.
You're right. That's exactly right. What I find out what hurt me. Mm-hmm. What did the other team do to hurt me, and then I need to learn to do that.
When I taught defense and I was teaching guys their rules, knowing that that's how other teams are probably teaching their guys, we try to use their rules against them.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, when I came out of retirement, and Coach Roth at the time wanted to know what position that I want to coach, because I was full-time counselor, so didn't have a lot of time to spend coaching. Said, hey, D-line. Mm-hmm. You line them up and tell them to sick them. Find the guy with the ball and sick them.
There was a coach that I interviewed with before I got the job at Mail, and I ultimately told him, you know, I was going to take the D-line job at Mail. He said, well, that's good. That's the easiest position to coach. And I'm like, man, you don't even know. Like, no, that's a tough position to coach. I would say, as far as position toughness, coach, D-line has to be up there, probably top 2.
Offensive line's the toughest.
Absolutely. I was going to say O-line's the toughest, hands down.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a good D-line, it doesn't matter how good your linebackers are.
Yeah. Coach, is there a part of you that relishes the challenge this year to maybe prove some folks wrong?
Relishes may not be the right word, but the competitor in me does. The competitor in me really enjoys. To say that we're rebuilding isn't necessarily accurate because we're returning our leading tackler, our second leading tackler, 2 really experienced guys up front, and guys in like Cooper Ross and Lucas Mock who they know how to handle the ball. Preston was a playmaker for us last year, so to call it a rebuild may not be the correct term. Maybe a recharacterization.
Oh, I like that. I hadn't heard that term before.
This team is going to look. This team is going to look a lot different than last year, and they're totally different characters as well. Different personalities, different leadership styles, and to an extent, different play styles as well. They're still really talented football players. We're the hardest working team in this area. So reload isn't the correct term, but recharacterization fits these guys.
They're going to play with a chip on the shoulder?
I think so. I think they're going to play like they have something to prove.
All right.
Appreciate you stopping by. All the best this year, Coach.
Man, again, I apologize I kept you guys so long. I'm sitting there, my first and second grade team is out there playing right now, and I look down at my phone, and oh, my God, that was tonight. So I appreciate you all putting this on. I appreciate what you're doing for Southern Indiana football, and likewise across the river, football in Louisville as well. You all have put on one heck of a production. I always enjoy going back. Obviously, we film our games, but I like going back to and looking at our Glycod tapes, see what Coach Kaz was saying about us.
Just turn down the volume, right, Coach?
No, I turned the volume up because I want to see what the old goat here has said about me. A lot of the stuff you say is really constructive and helpful.
It's fun watching your team play. It's fun watching you coach. So keep it up.
I appreciate that. Thank you all.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
That'll wrap it up here tonight. We'll step aside. And, again, opening night in 2 weeks. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.
You're watching a special presentation on Glycod.